Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning. Got a great broadcast. But before we go another step further, I got to say good morning to these two gentlemen that's with us this morning. Captain Leonard, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem and the Morning Glow family.
Good deal, good deal. Badger, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Eventful but blessed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, Badger, you say you had a fire, man. What happened?
About 2:30 this morning, me and my wife wake up to a very loud, like it almost sounded like a transformer going off.
Mm-hmm.
So me and her get woken up out of bed and we go check on the boys, and then I smell smoke and went, "Well, I'm not smoking, so what the hell?" So I walk back through the house and I see this light coming out of our bedroom.
Mm.
I'm like, "Uh-oh." So I take off to the bedroom. And there's a little fire on the carpet that was getting started up, and I put it out. But the where we had the internet hooked up, it kicked like six breakers, but it ended up exploding the
Mm.
router charger and frying the router. And the part that went to the fiber optic battery pack, like the old school stuff,
Uh-huh.
the wire about halfway through melted, and that's where it sparked, and it ended up sparking and causing the carpet to catch.
Good
Wow.
Lord. Good thing y'all was waking up out of your sleep, man. 'Cause that could have been ugly.
Man,
That could have been
it
ugly.
it well, you've seen like routers, right? And it looks
Mm-hmm.
like a phone charger. That thing
Yes.
was blown in half. We're assuming that's what woke us up because the capacitor blew up inside of it.
Mm. Wow. Man, look here. I'm gonna tell you something, man. It's a blessing that nothing else happened, and that's all that happened. Because that has ended in different ways.
So I'm
Exactly.
very
It's a
thankful.
blessing.
Mm-hmm. That has definitely ended in different ways. I'm glad, man, that
Yeah,
you were. Yeah, yeah. I'm glad that you all made it through that situation,
oh,
man. Because
the biggest
hey,
the
say it
biggest
again.
thing I'm going through right now this morning is, all right, you got my attention. What do I need to do?
Yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly, and that's what it is, man. Because like I say, man, that's a blessing, man. That's absolutely a blessing. Everybody is healthy. Everybody's still good. Nobody was hurt, harmed in any kind of way at all. Um, we ain't worried about the material thing. That can be replaced, but we can't be replaced. And so I'm glad that everything worked out, brother. Leonard, what's on your heart, man? I
Oh,
know you.
actually, I'm doing fine. I'm just glad Badger's doing fine, him and his
Yeah,
family.
exactly.
Because that's horrible, man.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. So, hey, and I'm gonna say it like this: God, the Creator, someone is looking out for you, Badger, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing, brother.
I agree with that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, I need to ask y'all a question, and y'all get me up to speed, man, because I got family that's in town, and we was out hanging out yesterday a little bit, and they're actually leaving tomorrow, and so we're probably gonna do something this evening, something like that. The last night here. Um, But we was out, man, and I on my way home, I said, "Well, let me pick up a little gas." And I went to the gas station, man, and Leonard, it was a mess, man.
Oh, yeah, man. This whole the gas shortage thing. So I went and filled up yesterday anyway.
Yeah, I had to.
Um,
Go ahead.
but like the quick trip ran out of gas.
Yes,
So not needing then, so I went to the gas station down the street, and I know that I'm not sure if the Kroger still has gas or not,
that's why I
or
got.
what have you.
That's why I got gas from. Because what I did, I got some gas. I got a little gas. I didn't know it was gonna be as it was. So my gas was going low. So I put a half a tank in there, and I was talking to people. They were saying, this is going on, this is going on, and a couple of people saying Russia froze our gas lines and stuff like that. I said, oh, conspiracy theory. Here we go.
I
Here we
know
go.
exactly the type of people that would have said something like that.
Yeah, yeah. They said Russia, and they would have a full-fledged conversation, and they asked me how I felt about it. I said, "Nah, I really don't." I said, I really don't. I said, "I don't know." I don't, and I just said, I left it right there. I said, I don't know. I don't know.
Mhm.
And because I'm not getting into that type conversation with you, Russia froze our gas lines. Really? Okay. If that's what you want to believe, go ahead and go with that. It sounds good to you. But I got a half a tank and I went home and when I got home and my wife was telling me about the gas situation and someone she was saying something about the tanks or something like that. Something happened with the tanks or something. And and she said, well, you know, you need to go fill up my car for me. So I went back to the gas station, filled up her car, and I came back. And when I was taking my family to the hotel, I said, on my way back, let me go ahead and fill up my tank. So I filled my tank up, topped it off. But man, I'm gonna tell you something. Cars was wrapped around man, listen, you had to wait to get gas, bro. You had to I mean, a lot of times you have to wait to get gas, but this last night I had to wait to get gas.
Mm.
And I tried to go to a QT, and you're absolutely right, man. They didn't have they ran out of gas, man. QT ran out of gas. I was like,
Exactly. Well, they're gonna run out of gas when everybody show up to get gas.
yeah, exactly. All of a sudden. But let's talk about this conspiracy theory type thing, Leonard. Why? Where they come from, man? Russia froze our gas tanks. Come on,
Well,
man.
first of all, the notion of somebody freezing a gas tank is not as rational as I don't know why people say that. Don't logically that don't make sense. Had you said they bombed it or something else, that have made
Mm-hmm.
more sense. But
Mm-hmm.
one is not so much as there's a fuel shortage as is this people that are willing to create a shortage
Mm-hmm.
to inflate the price. There's of course there's an issue with there's things like with the system itself. The shortage of delivery drivers and
Mm-hmm.
things like that may occur. But
Yeah.
or actually major pipelines that just malfunction.
Mm-hmm.
See, this
Mm-hmm.
is one thing that people don't understand. There are always oil leaks and everything that you don't know about if you don't read deep into the news.
Yeah. Yep.
And when these lines and stuff get disrupted, it may cause delivery issues.
Mm-hmm.
But trust me, the market will correct itself in a day or so.
But Badger, Russia froze our gas line, Badger. Russia did
How did they how did they come to America and freeze our gas lines?
it.
And really, you have to think about it. We're never in a fuel shortage, really.
Mm-hmm.
No.
It's not a shortage at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's a delivery issue at best,
Yeah.
but it's not a shortage issue.
Mm-hmm.
Because in my opinion, we don't even own the stuff that's over there.
Mm-hmm.
That's my
But
opinion.
but
And
like I
then
say,
the prediction, even with like AAA and things like that, 3 to 7 cents increase. Why are you going crazy about it?
mm-hmm.
3 to 7 cents, they usually do that.
Yeah.
So delivery may be like food. There's not a shortage of food.
Mm-hmm.
There's a delivery issue with it.
Yeah.
So people, these are markets.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about it's a shortage. It's a shortage. Guess what? Somebody's about to make a whole lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Off this quote unquote shortage that you're talking about.
Exactly. Too
Mm-hmm.
many people have oil for there to be a shortage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to realize it's always a delivery chain. And instead of reacting emotionally, you just think about your planning and your budget and conserve less and change your behavior so you use less.
Mm-hmm. And see, and that's the thing. But people are so quick. People are so quick, man, to jump on this conspiracy theory type thing and run with it. And
And
run with it.
and people do attack pipelines. Now, don't get it twisted.
Mm-hmm.
Terrorists still attack pipelines.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think what was this one? Was this one somewhere in the Gulf Coast?
I think it was.
Is
I
that it's
think
a
so.
pipeline from the Gulf Coast to the New York
Yeah.
area, I believe. Colonial
No,
Pipeline is the
was it
company.
was it Texas? No, was it Texas?
Well,
I
I
think.
said, I think there's a couple going down. I know there's a Colonial Pipeline that
Mm-hmm.
that goes from the south to the northeast,
Mm-hmm.
and
But I can't.
when these delivery systems get attacked, or not just attacked, because we want to be careful, because people will say attacked
Mm-hmm.
in order to inflate the hysteria as well. That's why
Yeah.
you got ignorant people at gas stations talking about something Russia did.
I'm like, man, you should have said they were so serious, man. They were having a conversation. It was myself. I was there, like I said, I wasn't involved in the conversation, but there were three other people at three different companies. They just talking about, and the young lady, she said, and Russia, she had a little phone in
Mhm.
her hand, and Russia, froze our gas line. Then the other two, they joined in. Yes, I heard that too. I said, oh Lord, really? I'm
And
like,
also, it's going to be from region to region because just what happened. My wife, who was in Texas, n- the Texas, Louisiana,
mm-hmm,
yesterday, they ain't got no problem with gas.
mm-hmm,
She
mm-hmm.
didn't
It depends.
notice it. She had to read in the news that there was a problem in gas in Georgia.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it's not the same everywhere. It affects certain areas more than others. And like I say, it's not a shortage issue.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be corrected in a couple of days.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I wouldn't start worrying about a gas shortage until Texas says that there's a gas shortage.
Mm-hmm.
And right, and there's a gas shortage when those machines stop working.
Yes. Exactly. Mhm. But Badger, y'all did have a situation. I don't know if it was in your area in Texas, but it was something with the electricity or something, wasn't it? The power company.
Oh, Swepco? Probably.
Yeah, they said something about something happened with the power company, and a lot of people didn't have power because the company some kind of mix up they had at the company, and it just took the whole system down. And yeah, that happened about I guess about a month ago, if that long. But Leonard, what's going on in the political arena, brother? What's going on right now?
Well, of course, watching these bills and things go through various legislatures as it relates to this movement, I think it's called what is no fault fault. The they're trying to make people believe, of course, like they always have about voter fraud is the reason why they're changing the laws.
Mm-hmm.
So you have this huge effort by GOP individuals coming from that political ideology to push
Mm-hmm.
these bills and to try to continue to gain support in other states to
Okay.
push measures to suppress voting as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to understand that the voting rights is under attack. Screw y'all guns because ain't nobody took your guns since you've been talking about it. Ain't nobody took your gun,
Mm-hmm.
but they are trying to take the right to vote.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
when you're calling here talking about, are they trying to take our guns? Take your behind down the street to your people that you associate with,
Mm-hmm.
because that type of rhetoric reeks of ignorance and the Republican Party.
Mm-hmm. Know where it come from.
Right. There's no truth in it. That's how you know where it comes from. You have to know your enemy. Those are the types of things that they say.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, in Texas, they are making the gun laws more lax to where you can do more things with
Exactly.
them
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
to
That's
keep
what's
us
happening.
distracted from the other stuff.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's happening actually. More people are getting guns. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm cautioning people with these buyback programs, poor black people,
Yeah.
once
Yeah.
you sell your guns back to them, they go and sell them to your enemy.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand if you got 3 or 4 and you need a little extra money, so you go give them one because you have several. But don't give the enemy your last gun.
Mm-hmm.
That don't make no sense.
See, I don't have that issue because I don't own a gun, but I have a
Right.
lot of sharp objects that don't need to be reloaded.
Mm-hmm.
If it get
Exactly.
down when the bullets run out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There you go. Leonard, what about this bill that I saw on the news this morning? Your governor signed this bill about the citizens arrest. What's this all about?
They want to make it easier for really, how should I put it? People that they prefer to kill innocent people in the streets because of the color of their skin.
Mm.
I'm very much against this idea as it relates to
Did you
citizen
say
arrests.
did you say they're trying to make it easier?
Yes, that's why the people tried to get off when they shot Aubrey.
Mm-hmm.
So they want to justify those things more.
See, I had a misunderstanding. I thought they was trying to do it where you couldn't do that anymore. Where you
Well,
couldn't.
yes, well, the rhetoric is that. but we know what their stance is.
Okay.
So the headline may be misleading.
Okay.
It's like the same with the voting rights bills that they put forward.
Mm-hmm.
It's to stop fraud. No, it's not.
Wow.
That's not what the bill is. That's not what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to make it harder for people to vote.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the issue with the citizens arrest,
It's amazing how to use certain verbiage, though, Leonard. It's amazing how to
Yes.
use certain verbiage to try to sell their narrative.
Right, and I understand you have to think, and people do things little by little, so you don't really notice sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
See, the justification, like the castle doctrine and all these things that we have related to protecting your property or what have you, and all these types of things, we have to have laws that, let me say, citizens arrest also covers things like security guards who are not licensed police officers and all those things that give them the right to treat you a certain way. Like, say, for instance, if you were in a certain neighborhood and they had a watch, neighborhood watch, these would be citizens interested in that. Because if they was to see Raheem coming through their neighborhood, they might believe Raheem is stealing.
Yeah.
Up to no good. Because
exactly.
maybe because he ain't as tall as everybody else, maybe. That's
watch
why.
You wow. Look at what you
maybe that's it. Tall people steal. Maybe that's
it. Wow.
Okay. Because we've seen the defense for these people that do these types of things. So if they have been getting off doing these things, something should be adjusted to the law, don't you think? Now, supposedly this bill would do that. But I have to read the entire bill to see what else is in there.
What's hidden?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's what they're going to pull out of that bill to protect the people that they prefer, while pretending as if they're doing away with these citizens arrest and all these types of things and holding people responsible. Because if that was the case, we wouldn't have a problem with interfering with the police. Oh, it don't apply to police. What if you saw the police doing something illegal? Like putting their foot on somebody's neck.
Yeah. Who's going to police the police?
Exactly. So while we're talking about citizens arrest, why are we talking about citizens arrest if we're not talking about getting rid of it all together? Or are we just picking and choosing?
9 times out of 10.
So once I read the entire bill, I'll actually, no, but up front, no. There's some peculiar things in there that need a little bit more attention.
There's some spots that need to be looked at.
Yes, just like with the voter rights bills and things of that nature.
Now, Leonard, for a person that just don't know, let's talk for a second more about the voters' right bill. And we know what they're trying to do, but for a person that just don't know this, don't understand, have never heard anything about this, explain to them how they're trying to backdoor their way in.
Well, actually, they're trying to make it harder for people to vote by requiring lots of different information now, as opposed to what they would have been requiring before. And say, for instance, requiring that, one, if you want to vote absentee, you have to show proof of identification. Well, they know exactly every registered voter. So if I'm sending in the absentee ballot, you need to check it against my registered voter status, like you always have done. And if I'm not registered to vote, then my vote is not counted.
Yeah.
That's the process. Or even if you show up to the poll and there's a problem with your identification at all, we used to tell people, make sure you get at least a provisional ballot, because a provisional ballot actually casts your vote, and then you have a couple more days to provide whatever information it was that was necessary. But this insistence up on a state issued ID provides a barrier for some people.
Now, what do you say to the people? And Badge, I want to hear your heart on this as well. What do you say to the people that say, "Well, it's just so easy. Everybody should have an ID anyway, so it's not like they're asking them to do something that you shouldn't already have." What do you say to that person, Leonard?
Say that again, Raheem.
What do you say to the person that say, "Well, they're just asking you to have an ID. You just gotta have an ID. Everybody should have an ID anyway, so it's not like they're asking you to do something that you shouldn't already have done." What do you say to that person?
Well, everybody may not have a state issued ID. Everybody don't drive.
Mm-hmm.
Usually a state ID is a driver's license.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, I'm Jay. Last election, guess what I used to vote with?
What's that?
My concealed weapons permit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and then it's like this. It's picture ID. So,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have a picture ID, why should that hinder your right to vote if you're a citizen of the United States?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Another layer, and let it remind me of this because I get into the conversation sometimes I forget, but let's talk about a person has committed a felony and done their time and their
Mhm.
right to vote because a lot of people don't know about that. But Badger, what do you say to that? What do you say to the fact that this voters' right bill is requiring everybody to have a state issue ID? What do you say to the argument that, well, what they're doing, they're actually asking you to have something, an ID. Everybody should have an ID anyway. So what's the problem? What do you say to that person that think that way?
Excuse me, I don't mean to cut in, but
Mm-hmm.
that bill number is House Bill 479 to repeal this citizens law, the actual Georgia law.
Mm-hmm.
And up on the front, it is supposed to take away the right of people to act on other citizens if they believe that they're committing some type of breaking some type of law or what
Yeah,
have you.
yeah, yeah.
Now let's work with that bill. But when it comes to another incident, that's going to really prove what that bill does. If there is another incident
Mm-hmm.
after this bill is passed
Mm-hmm.
and someone is not indicted,
Yes.
you'll know what the law
Mm-hmm.
actually did. Now, up front, it says to repeal our citizens' arrest law here.
Mm-hmm.
That supposedly the folks in the Aubrey incident would use as a type of defense that
Yeah.
they would have to prove.
Mm-hmm. What does this do moving forward if the bill is just passed and they committed their crime before the bill is passed? What does this do to their case? Does it help or
Well,
hinder or harm it in any kind of way?
well, it should be against. There shouldn't be any loophole.
Mm-hmm.
There shouldn't be any loophole whatsoever. We should never have to worry about another conviction or anything of that nature. Because what people usually do is use this to say we were protecting our interests.
Mm-hmm.
See, it moved from protecting your own property to now protecting your interests, which
Mm-hmm.
could be your neighbor's property or anything else in your neighborhood. This is how people were using this. And this is how Aubrey, they tried to wanted to justify the killing of Aubrey
Mm-hmm.
because we saw him doing it ain't had nothing to do with their property.
Yeah.
They saw him and they assumed about him something,
Mm-hmm.
which led to his death. So you won't know the true how this law really works, and hopefully there won't be another issue. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see more maybe now castle doctrine usage as we protecting your own, bringing that back. So you shouldn't be doing this in movie theater parking lots because you used to be on the police force, and that's how you shooting people in the parking lot.
Yeah.
We've had that issue here
Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely.
because ex-police officers and things of this nature saw something they thought they should intervene in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, those types of things. If you notice, then people be riding around with all these decals and stuff on their car.
Mm-hmm.
Former law enforcement uh, individuals.
Mm-hmm.
who think just because they used to be police, they still got a right to do whatever they want to do. These are the defenses that people were using to justify these citizens' arrests. Now, remember, we're talking about just citizens' arrest. These
Yeah.
folks don't went so far as murdered somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So a citizen's arrest is usually what? Okay, maybe I'm going to hold you until the police come.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, do people still have the right to do that?
They
Or is
shouldn't.
that considered a citizen's arrest
Mm-hmm.
or not? See,
And
it may not is a great start, but there are other laws in effect as well that may still provide defenses for people who want to kill folks they see in their neighborhood or out and about that they don't think should be doing what they're doing. There are some people that would take the law into their own hands, and you know how they come at you.
yeah, sideways. Exactly.
Yeah. Hey,
Badger,
what are you doing? That ain't none of your darn business what I'm doing. Mind your business.
be, be like like DMX said in one of his songs, mind your business, lady. Old people get shot too.
Thank
Mind
you.
your business. Mind your business. He said old women get shot too. Lord Jesus. Badger, what do you say to that? Back to the question I asked you earlier about somebody say that, well, listen, only thing this bill is saying, this Georgia bill is saying that everybody should have an ID. Shouldn't have an ID anyway. Badger, what do you say to that?
What do you mean should not have an ID?
Say it again.
What do you mean by should have an ID?
Everybody should have some form of identification. And so the bill is saying you can't vote if you don't have a form of identification. That's what that's one of the things that they're trying to stand on right now. They're saying if you don't have an ID, you cannot vote.
Well,
But what?
no, they want to say now you'd have to have there's a list of things.
Mm-hmm.
However, but they want really state issued IDs, which
Okay.
means the state can actually control who votes.
Okay. Now hold on, Leonard. Now you said that there's a list of things. Clarify that list of things.
Well, when you say, for instance, when I was mentioning that provisional ballot,
Mm-hmm.
I had my weapons, my driver's license.
Uh-huh.
Some people have probably been voting by, I guess you used to, I mean, old people may remember, you vote by just showing a utility bill or
Yeah.
something of that nature or something that proved residence.
Mm-hmm.
Because if something that I could prove I had residence, I could easily go back with that computer and identify the person standing in front of me.
Yeah.
So now they want to be more specifically with absentee voting and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
However, you have to also they want to take away things like drop-off boxes.
Mm-hmm.
They want to decrease days that you have to vote and things like that as part
Now
of these bills.
that's one of the things that don't make sense. Why would you eliminate some of the days to vote
To
when it's
decrease the people that use those days to vote because
exactly,
those people won the election.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Let me go to Badger and hold on for 1 second. Badger, what's on your heart, brother? What do you say to that?
You know, Ed, there's always something going on trying to, what's the wordage I'm trying to find? Some kind of control in one way, shape, or another, or distraction.
Mm-hmm.
I have an issue with any state trying to find ways to alter how you can vote. To me, if you're a registered voter with an ID and you're voting for the United States president, using that as an example,
Mm-hmm.
it shouldn't matter what state you're in or if you're traveling or on a vacation when that vote comes up. You should be allowed to vote. Now, as far as like state representatives, you know, people in that state should be the ones being able to vote for them representatives, not anyone on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are the people that are choosing to live in that state based on laws and regulations and whatever reason they are in the state that they are in. So to me, it's I just like the law that they're trying to pass here about disability or people with a mental disability.
Mm-hmm.
there's fine lines of how they could skew the way a person interacts with the world or voting or whatever. And I think we as, American citizens should be very aware of it. And pay attention to the fact of, yes, the bill's in place, but how can it be used? What's the wording?
Or misused.
Or misused, yeah.
Mm.
And that's, I think, is something that a lot of people overlook. They're like, well, that bill looks really cool, and, it looks like a lot of good things could happen from it. And I'm like, yeah, but how are they going to use it? It's vaguely worded, or it's generally worded.
Yes.
It's not specific. There's not enough details in the writing. There's a lot of bills, even in our government, not including all the stuff that's from state to state, that is vaguely worded, so it can be used for whatever purpose the person wants to use it for. So it literally boils down to, that's why I think some people have gotten away with a lot of things, because they use the way things are worded against the people that wrote them.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good. Now let me ask you about the felony voting. Some people say if you're a felony and you've done your crime, you serve your time, you can be able to vote. Others say that you can't. That a felon can't vote. Leonard, how does that educate our listeners on how that works?
It varies from state to state.
Wow, in the
Most
United in the
United
United
States.
States, in the
Yes.
United.
That's what people really don't fully understand. States make their own laws. Now they can make any law as long as it does not go against a already established federal law. So the state of Georgia does allow ex-felons to vote once they have done their time and paid whatever restitutions that they have to pay. There are some states that's going so far as to push bill that allow, I remember one bill to allow incarcerated persons to vote.
Wow.
So it's various types of bills. But some states still don't allow ex-felons to vote.
Now, how do you feel about that, Leonard? And I'm just
I believe all ex-felons should vote. Once you serve your time, you should be able to vote.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was about to say, because once you serve you paid your debt to society, why can't you vote?
Yeah, you should be on a fresh start.
Yeah. Yep. But and so I don't understand how they can say, well, you're an ex-felon, your rights to vote is you can't vote anymore.
Well, because one, the strategy was to lock up as many black people as you possibly could, and by locking up large numbers of the African American population and taking away their right to vote, you could control areas and the politics in areas. So that's one of the issues. The only reason why people push the law for incarcerated persons is to vote is because, one, the majority of the people incarcerated in some prisons are in their own locations. They are the population. They have more incarcerated people in these little makeshift cities and things like that. And they want representation in Congress based on the number of people that they have incarcerated.
Wow.
Just like 3/5 compromise almost. I have enslaved people, but I want to count them for my purposes of getting representation in Congress.
Wow. Badger, what do you say to that, man? Do you think an ex-felon served the time, got out, he or she has gotten out of prison, should they be able to vote?
I don't see why not. I'm going to be honest.
Well, they committed a crime.
Hello?
But they committed a crime. How could you say that they committed a crime? Talk to me, Badger. Oh, we lost Badger.
But also, when you mentioned that particular bill, I want to make sure people understand that it's the bill was related to our stand your ground here law in Georgia, which is a stand, and we have been an activist in Florida and things like that related to the issues and doing, community events and helping those people out. that do them to make sure you explain the issue of being detained by someone. See, what happened was if you use the citizen's arrest previously, you could detain someone. Now, guess what happened? When you were detaining them, they killed them. That's what happened. So you had a citizen's arrest law that said you could detain, but that detaining led to death.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, stand your ground, pretty much says a person that's being threatened, they're not required to retreat. And as I mentioned before, this law it only pertains to bystanders or witnesses. You don't have the right to detain people anymore, supposedly.
Yeah.
But now there are certain people that still have that right to do that other than the police. Like security guards and private detectives.
I was in a store one time. I'm trying to remember what store it was. I want to say Woolworth in Greensboro, but it might not be right. But I was in a store one time, and a fella got caught stealing something, and they locked the doors and held him in there.
And this bill says they still have a right to do that. They still have it's specifically for them. They still have a right to do that.
Wow.
Because they're owning a store. And that's part of the things that it still allows restaurant employees or even any business that think you stole something can still detain you. Now, part of this new bill says they can only detain you until the sheriffs or somebody come or the police come.
Okay.
In a reasonable time. So yes, at one point it looks great, but we have to look at the application of it. How is it going to be applied to what we've been experiencing and what we've been complaining about?
What I told him, I said, look here, you locking that door. You're not only locking the person in and stuff. I didn't steal nothing. I'm ready to go. Open that door and let me out. I'm not gonna stay here because y'all got y'all the thing going on. I gotta go.
And people may not want to believe it, but this whole citizen's arrest issue came out of Civil War era. And it gave basically white folks the right to accost, harass, and detain black people, and even lynch them. This is what that said. Every mob that you used to see that used to lynch people, this was the law that made it possible for them to do that. They had that citizen's arrest law.
Wow.
They could round you up and say you was an escaped slave if they wanted to. Or say you did something. And we all know those sheriffs was the Klan, and they was on board with killing them. So this is why they had the citizen's arrest law to begin with.
Wow. Badger, what's on your heart, brother?
I was trying to figure out which House bill he was talking about.
479. Look it up. House bill. I think it's in Georgia now. It's 479 in Georgia.
Gotcha.
Now,
hopefully this time my phone doesn't disconnect.
Okay. Let's also talk about and with this voting situation, a person that's in the military. Say if they were born and raised here in Georgia, went to the military, now they're in Arkansas. They're stationed in Arkansas. What do they vote, Leonard? Do they vote? Do they have to vote here, or because of the fact
I missed a little bit? Say that again, Raheem.
If a person are military, a person's in the military, and they're born and raised here in Georgia, but they're stationed now in Arkansas. But if they still want to vote here in Georgia, how with this new bill, how does that work?
If they didn't change it to where they're at, they can vote absentee. They just have to send in proof. Now, when you send in that ballot, you have to send in a copy of proof of identification or something like that. Why you got to send that along with the ballot? I'm not sure because the ballot has all of your identifying information.
Exactly. And that was my question right there, because how do you do that? Because now
Now
I'm
you go down there and you copy get a photocopy of your ID and all that and put it in there. Listen.
another loophole.
Now you know that when you send a ballot in, it has to be sent in a certain way, right?
No,
If
I didn't.
anybody who has ever filled out an absentee ballot, you know, once you get the ballot, it comes and it actually have a little blank cover or what have you that you put over your ballot when you put it in the envelope. If you were to sign your name anywhere but in a certain place, you wouldn't use your ballot, or they'd send it back to you, or what have you, to say it was filled out incorrectly. So now, if you place these things in those absentee ballot envelopes incorrectly or not in the exact format or what have you that a state may require, they could hold up your ballot if you didn't get it right. Now, imagine the number of people now that got to go and get copies of their ID printed and everything and all this type of stuff. That's just a hindrance to vote. We know that our elderly and disabled people rely on absentee voting. We know that a lot of people turn to absentee voting because they don't want to wait in lines. People turn into absentee voting because they're away at school and they're not where their residence is, and their kids may be away at school. College students, you know, so this is how they would vote. So instead of making the paths to voting, expanding them, which a truly democratic and people interested in a democratic government should be doing, you have the Republicans doing something else again.
Badger, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Well, I'm reading this 479, and from what I'm seeing, the point of this bill is to get rid of the 1863 citizen arrest law.
Right, to repeal that law. That was the actual law.
Yeah.
All the way from 1863.
A lot of the people that voted against it were mostly Democrats.
And see, the law itself is really a lot of fluff. It's repealing the 1863 law of citizens arrest, but it's not addressing the other issues that are leading to the death of African Americans. You could have somebody institute a security force in their neighborhood. George Zimmerman.
Yeah.
Who believed he was acting in the interest of his community as some type of security guard for his neighborhood.
Yeah. Security force. He was a security force.
So I'm more interested in how this law is going to be used to indict individuals that violate.
Badger, you ran across some, Badger. What's on your heart?
Most of the people that said no were Black Democrats.
Because the repealing of this law does not change really this issue at hand. It still gives individuals the right to do certain things to other people. What they should have done was, say, for instance, no retreat. Stand your ground says you don't have to retreat.
Yeah.
It don't even matter. You don't have to retreat. Even if there is a way out to avoid the violence, you don't have to retreat. And all I still have to do is feel threatened.
Exactly. Now, Badger, what does that say to you? The people, the ones that actually oppose the bill, what does that say to you?
Say that again.
What is that? The people that oppose the bill, and I don't know who it is. The ones that oppose that particular bill. I know you say they're mostly majority Democrats. What does that say to you?
Alternative motive.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
On
there
on
was like
whose
an
on whose
Asian
part?
person too.
On whose part? The person that's pushing the bill or the one that's opposing it?
Oh man. Okay, so the revamping of this is saying a private person who detains an individual under this code section shall either release said individual or within a reasonable time contact a law enforcement unit with appropriate jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
See, that don't change nothing. I can kill you before the police get there.
Yeah.
That don't change nothing. That's why these folks ain't supported this bill. Because you want to get the headline showing a Republican repealing an 1863 bill that was used back then to lynch black folks.
Mm-hmm.
That's the headline. The headline is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Hey, shout out to Governor Kemp for blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
But it don't change why these people getting killed out here.
Yep, because if a person feels like they have to defend themselves, this law can protect them.
Right. You're just repealing the 1863 Citizens Arrest Law. That's all you're doing. You're repealing that law that's on the book.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether that has any other implications that changes the phenomenon of, for some reason, why white folks feel that they can just gun down black people in their neighborhoods has not been addressed.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a repeal, it's an overhaul.
Pretty much.
They're just changing some of the words around.
They ain't doing a whole lot. Just smoke and mirrors
Mm-hmm.
to make the South look like it's changed.
No, nothing new.
Mm-mm.
Same crap, different day.
But that's the way law works.
Go ahead. What's your perspective on Badger? Talk to me.
You know, me and Leonard talked about this privately, and sometimes I'll talk to him about bringing it up. Sometimes today might be a good day to bring some of it up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, being part Native and having the Irish heritage and stuff that I have, you know, the laws that have been like put in place and the smoke and mirrors involving all that stuff. I'm so used to seeing that all throughout, you know, the history of America when the Europeans first showed up, or Spanish, or whatever a person wants to call them. That a lot of the things that are happening in these smoke and mirrors,
Mm-hmm.
and you can literally just turn around, look back 100 years. Oh no, okay, I'll give it 120 years or 110. Look at how everything is written as far as like removing Native Americans and their rights and everything else, and apply it to a lot of the bills that are being put in place today. And it's kind of scary how similar they are.
Mm-hmm.
They're it's smoke and mirrors. To me, there's still going to be this racial stuff that's going on that our government isn't taking care of.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know, there's the smoke and mirrors about, you know, the Native American woman that's up there in the head of the BIA. And I've been looking into a lot of that stuff. And I'm like, cool. She's leading something that's going to hopefully find the people that's kidnapping the Native American women and, you know, selling them for sex slaves and whatever other thing they're doing. Cool. How about the poverty? How about taking alcohol away from Native Americans? Because it is one of the number one killers to Native Americans outside of the other stuff. Because Native Americans cannot handle alcohol.
Mm-hmm. We can't take alcohol away from Native Americans.
No, but and Badger, let's be clear for everybody that's listening. We're not gonna paint with such a wide brush. We can't say that all Native Americans can't control themselves when they drink alcohol. We can't say that.
A lot of them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But You know, and that's been a huge big issue, and they've been trying to fight for those rights forever.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I'm bringing this up because when you look into the stuff that isn't put on the news and compare it to now, there's not a lot of difference. So I'm literally, you know, with all the research I've done on my ancestry and, you know, my people, and seeing what's being done to the blacks and the Asians right now, I almost see no difference whatsoever.
Mm.
It's just a whole bunch of smoke and mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Leonard.
Then what's on your heart, brother? We're going to jump into our topic because actually, what we've been talking about is a perfect segue into our topic. What's on your heart?
Well, you have to always be aware of the strategies of your enemy, and do not appeal to your enemy for your well-being. I would never vote on a law that actually specifically took alcohol away from an individual because of their genealogy. We're not taking away alcohol from anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't justify taking it from Native Americans.
Yeah.
What Native Americans can do within their own communities is start campaigns in their own communities about the destructive consequences of alcohol abuse. But you don't make a law. So it's like some people make it like they used to be laws where black people couldn't do certain things because they were black.
Mm-hmm.
You don't make a law against Native Americans that way. That's inhumane.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of the consequences, it would be inhumane to do that unless you took it away from everyone.
Mm-hmm.
We already have a law, and we've in this country that says that people under a certain age should not be allowed to drink, which encompasses everyone. And it doesn't say because of your family's history or your color or your background.
Mm-hmm.
We say we're not going to allow people to drink under the age. What is it? Is it 21?
21, yes.
Remember, it used to be 18.
Uh-huh.
And remember when it wasn't no law?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we've come a long way with this discussion. 18, now we jumped to 21 because of responsibility, car crashes, and alcoholism before the brain has developed properly. And the data that was used to come up with this law affects everyone, not just, example, Native Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Apparently, I need to definitely work on rewording.
Yes.
Because I am aware of the fighting and stuff that happened as far as like trying to limit access on the reservations over things like alcohol or drugs. And even though the vote was so high, the American companies overrid them and are still doing it to this day. They completely ignored what the people on the reses were trying to do.
Right.
I'm trying to make sure I'm coming across clear, but I'm not sure.
For lack of a better word, y'all might need to come to Jesus meeting and decide what you're going to do amongst yourself, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that we must clean ourselves up and not depend on our enemy to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It is our responsibility to clean up ourselves.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's the thing, though. As much fighting that's been done. Look at the oil pipelines. Look at the land that continues to be taken away, and all the other stuff. Even though their lands are supposed to be theirs, it can be taken away from them just because of oil or plutonium or whatever.
But see,
every time a tribe
if you talk about if we're talking about wars and plutonium, gasoline, if you will, there has been so many different wars fought over that throughout history. Am
And
I
the reason
incorrect?
why they ain't, it's because they don't win.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're fighting people that have more power than you.
Mm-hmm.
So unless you fight back in a way that wins, you'll never get what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, people overseas attack, terrorists attack pipelines over there when they're not happy with where they're at.
Well, that's the thing with the pipeline that a lot of people don't know about is the militia that's guarding the one over there in the Dakotas and stuff. If anyone even tried to approach it to get rid of it or anything, they'd be shot on sight.
And think about it, this is the same government and same mentality at the border. Now imagine if you had a handful of people that hated people because of the color of their skin or their background patrolling the border.
You have a mess.
Which you do have already. People that are just deputized, militia. Remember what he said, militia that they're hiring to do what? Kill Native Americans.
Yep.
Now I'm bringing this up to add a different perspective of why I have the point of views that I have. Because I do the research and I talk to my brothers and sisters all over the country. Hear their stories, see their struggles, watch it not be put on CNN or Fox News or any big news company, pretty much anywhere. And if you don't know what to search, you're not going to find out about it.
Right.
But I'm sitting here watching all this other stuff go down, and I'm like, this reminds me of some stuff. I wonder if people are going to catch on.
It's there's a lot, man, and there's so many different ways that we can actually take this.
I'll be right back, Raheem.
Okay, there's so many different ways we could take this particular conversation right now, man, and I want to hear from other people as well. So give us a call. The phone lines are open. 678-381-1973. 678-381-1973. How do you feel about this thing? And there's a lot of things that's going on in the world today. This bill here in Georgia, we actually in Georgia. What's going on with that? How they're trying to curb certain things, how they're trying to hide certain verbiage in that bill, so a lot of individuals won't pay attention to it, and would not even know what they're actually trying to do. Is it for the betterment? Is it to allow the vote to be authentic, if you will? Is it for that, or are you just trying to curb it to make it work in your favor? And a lot of the Democrats are saying that they're trying to put these things in place to make the vote work in the Republicans' favor because it's changed. Georgia, the color has changed. They've gone from being an absolute Republican state to now they're Democratic. And so in order to take it back, we got to go in. The Republicans, this is the Republicans talking. We have to go in and do certain things so we can curb those numbers back in our favor, because we can't afford to lose these states in this day and time. Badger, what do you say to that? Is that accurate?
I can agree with it. To me, one thing that I always like think about is America is supposed to be like our officials, our senators, our House representatives are supposed to be for the people. Meaning all the people. I just don't think it's been that way for a long time.
It has never been that way. and that's a part of the problem. Go ahead.
Yeah, and if everyone was treated equally in this country, I think this country would absolutely deserve the respect. Not because they're afraid of our military or anything. They'd be afraid to mess with us because we fight together. You wouldn't need a situation like 9/11 for us to come together. We would already be that way. You mess with one of us, you have to deal with all of us.
Exactly.
And a lot of Americans have that mentality. But when it comes to start bringing up racial stuff there's so much ignorance
Mm-hmm.
about things like that, because if people have never been aware of it, even if it's happened right in front of their face, and they just don't view it that way, they probably think that the person that's having someone yell at them did something wrong. You know, there's so many excuses I've heard instead of looking at it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like I said, you know, if I didn't experience a lot of the things I've experienced, it'd be hard for me to relate to some of the things that y'all share.
Mm-hmm.
But because I've personally experienced, you know, discrimination and stuff due to my disability and me being a half Native American, half white person, you know, there is hatred out here.
Mm-hmm.
There really is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not a lie. It's not a you know, I want attention. It legitimately happens.
Mm-hmm. It really.
And it's really hard to know exactly how much it happens, because our government and our news channels are very selective of how much is actually shared.
Well, see, Badge, you got to understand a lot of times, and this is across the board. I'm not gonna pick it CNN, Fox, MSB, NBC, and I'm not gonna pick on any of them. But a lot of times, people they only gonna tell the story that fits their narrative. If
I see a lot.
Go ahead.
I see a lot of local news
Mm-hmm.
that shares as much of the whole story as possible,
Mm-hmm.
like local news,
Yeah.
like what's happening on the reservations. You know, some of the local county news, and things like that, or like around here. You know, they talk about the shootings. You know, they'll talk about, you know, they'll show the police footage a lot of times. So it's like they always do their best to share both sides of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that more in local news than I do big news.
Yeah.
And big news, for some reason, is what most of the people pay attention to.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And so and that's what because they feel it's true. It's truth. If the people that's loyal to Fox, whatever Fox News say, is truth to them. People that's loyal to CNN, whatever CNN say, is truth to them. And you can't put those two groups of people in the same place at the same time, because you're gonna have chaos. You're gonna have absolute chaos, and it's gonna be a mess. It's gonna be a mess. What do you say
For
to that?
sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I completely agree, because, you know, I've seen Fox News say one thing and CNN say another. And I'm
Yeah.
like, then you see people on the internet fighting amongst one another. It's, you know, CNN's more truthful and accurate. And I'm like, go check out BBC. They actually tell more than what the other two do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
I'm like,
see,
other countries have share more of what's going on than our own country does.
mm-hmm. Because you got to understand, they're not vested in any of the lies that one or the other or both is telling. They're not vested in that. Um, they don't have any meat in the game, so you know it doesn't hurt them to tell the truth. This is what it is. This is what we see. This is what it looks like. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt them.
Now, I do think when it comes to their own country,
Mm-hmm.
they don't share everything.
Oh yeah.
But that's something I've noticed in news. You know, all around the world, they'll share they'll share a lot of the bad things that are happening in other countries
Mm-hmm.
as a distraction,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
instead of countries actually focusing on their own individual problems and taking care of it.
Okay. And that goes back to a conversation we had, and we got a caller. We're going to go to the caller. That goes back to the conversation we had maybe about a month ago, where we talked about what happens in this house stays in this house. You're not going to let your business go out like that. And they're very free to talk about what goes on here in America, because they're not vested in it. But when you talk about their own country, they're not going to tell the world, you know, the woes that they have, or the ugly little situation that they have in their own country. They don't want it to be known. But they'll tell about America. They'll tell about all the other places, and they'll talk freely about it. We got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Well, good morning, my handsome people. It's Toy with the T. Hello.
Toya with the T. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
I'm well. I'm well. Hello. Hello.
Good deal. Good deal. Toya, you came right when we're about to jump into our topic. Leonard had to step away for a second. He'll be back in a little bit. We have Badger with us, and we're gonna jump right into this topic. And I'm gonna ask the question. People, I'm gonna preface it, let me preface it by saying it like this. A lot of time, people will sell you a story, will sell you a dream, and they believe the things that they tell you. They believe the lie that they tell you when they talk to you. And our topic today is it live or is it Memorex? Y'all remember the commercials come on the commercials come on all the time live, or is it live? Is it Memorex? And you couldn't tell the difference. Toya, what happens when you're dealing with somebody and you can't tell whether it's live or whether it's Memorex? What's on your heart, sis?
Well, I don't know. I can't do them kind of people. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? I can't do those. You lying. I know you lying. We all know you lying. And you still lying. I can't do that. Now I can
Mm-hmm.
think you lying, but some of these people out here, it's just the fact of the matter of that's what they do, and they know they're lying. They just don't want you to know that they're
Mm-hmm.
lying.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't, very, very little patience for those people who want to send out messages and stories that are not true. And when it comes to believing their own truth, the mind is a fickle type of computer. And I mean, I don't know. I think everything we train ourselves to do, whether it be lying, whether it be telling the truth, whether it be working, I think that you gotta work some kind of muscle
Mm-hmm.
to do something. And when you do, it just kind of grooms who you are. So some of those people, I think that's a trait to be walking around like they're Memorex. Just lying. But no, very very little patience. And you got the one, because I'll call you out right there in front of whoever, however,
Mm-hmm.
whenever. But I would prefer to get you in a corner by yourself and talk to
Mm-hmm.
you about your lies. But I'm gonna get you. I don't know about
Mm-hmm.
everybody else, but if I'm dealing with you and you're lying, I'm gonna get you. Man, why you lying?
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that. Don't do that, man. You stay lying. You just drop that candy on the floor. You gonna sit there looking me in my face talking about you ain't dropped the candy on the floor and everybody sitting up here looking at you.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
exactly. Exactly. Leonard, are you back with us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good deal. Is it live or is it Memorex? Leonard, sometime a person will say, and we're gonna deal with a lot of different elements with this right here, but sometime a person will lie to you right in your face. And they lie so good sometimes you can't tell whether they're lying or telling the truth. How do you deal with these people? Because the truth of the matter, there's some good liars out here, man.
Yeah, but then again, I'm not the person to fall for whatever you say. I'm always questioning everything someone says.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
built in. I don't never believe nothing you tell me the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I have to test it.
Yeah.
Why should I trust you? I don't know you like that. Why wouldn't you lie
Yeah.
if you could get away with it?
Mm-hmm.
So the proof is in whatever it is we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, some people, sometimes the truth is readily available, which lets you know you're talking to somebody who isn't very intelligent.
Yeah.
If the truth is readily available and they still lying, something wrong with them.
Mm-hmm.
But if they can get over, they think they can get over on you. That's what they do.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Is it live or is it live? I like I sing the song a little bit. Or is it Memorex? Rico, good morning. So how you doing this morning?
Man, Grand Rising, my brothers and sisters. How y'all doing this morning,
Hey,
man?
doing good, doing good. Rico, let me ask you a question, man. Our topic today is it live or is it Memorex? Rico, is there some people out there that's just excellent, and you don't want to say it like this, you don't want to give no credit, but is there some people out there that's just excellent liars, man, that'll lie to you and sell you rain at the beach, in the
Most
ocean?
people are.
Mm,
Most people are. Most people. There's not too many people existing on this planet that's happy with who they are. If they could, they would be somewhere else, be somebody else, or be doing something totally different than what they're really doing.
mm-hmm,
And in that case, you might live or carry yourself like you are that person that you wish you could be. Or you might get envious and start trying to knock that person down that you want to be like. You just because it's so hard for you to get there. But the thing is people like to pretend.
Come on.
Everybody like they want to go live. People going live, they live streaming, they taking selfies. It's not authentic because I guarantee you, out of all these selfies you see on Instagram, that one that you see is one out of 100 pictures taken. That means they had to do some pretending and some posing. They had to do some editing. They had to do some imagining. How does it look? How that look? And so it wasn't authentic. So I think, to be honest with you, I think most people walk out the door making themselves up to be somebody they aren't, to come off and appear to be something that they aren't. Now, you have a few people that they don't have to do that. They don't worry about it. They just move in a certain way. But most people, being that people are so stuck on image and perception, and they judge you, whether they accept you or whether they respect you or recognize and acknowledge you based off that appearance or based off the paperwork. Now, it doesn't have to just be so small and superficial appearance, but it can easily be manipulated paperwork. It could be a resume. Resume look good. I think he'll be a winner. Let's bring him on in. Next thing you know, this up and embezzling everything. You don't lost all your money.
Exactly.
Then he'll compulsive liar. Or maybe he just brought down the whole business. Maybe they just came into a situation and they caused so much drama and just was manipulating everybody in the business that they turned everybody against each other. Before you know, they done brought down $1 million corporation, all because they were being sentenced and they don't have. They just have that in them.
Just straight chaos.
Manipulators will be opportunity.
Just straight chaos.
So a lot of times this is an agenda.
Exactly. Tucson, talk to me, brother. What do you say to that? Is it live or is it Memorex? Is it live or is it Memorex? These fake people out here on Tucson. What do you say about them? And good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. Film at 11. Just wait for the news to come out. I mean, you can just about find out anything because they're going to put it on social media. Or they're just going to go live with it.
Wow.
So you're going to either see you can go to the source where they put it out there, and you can review it at any time. Whatever's going on, whether they fighting or getting married or burying somebody, it's all on tape.
Wow.
Everybody want to be seen. Everybody want to be seen.
Exactly.
Whatever they got to say is important news. They think it's important, so they put it out there. Nobody's secret. No.
Ain't no secrets.
We know everything. Ain't no secret. I was in the thing, but that ain't gonna turn out good.
No, don't sing, brother. You're doing good. You're doing good. Let's not mess it up. Now you're doing so well, brother. Let's not mess it up. Now we ain't gonna get into the singing thing. Let me go to Kurt. Curtis, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, look here. Hey, doing good. Look here. We're asking the question: is it live or is it Memorex? Now, what do you say about all these fake people? And Curtis, there's some people out there that can lie to you, like a Mary Hippie. That's Harry's lady. She could panhandle the pennies so good just to feed Harry's baby. She could tell a story so incredible, man, make you want to take the food home and put it on the table. Lyrics from one of my favorite songs, Harry Hippie. But is there any Mary Hippies out there, man, that can tell you a story so incredible?
Is there any what?
Mary Hippies.
Say that one more again, Raheem, because you sound broke up a little bit.
Is there any Mary Hippies out there? Mary Hippies. Harry Hippie song. The song from that song, Harry Hippie. That'll tell you a story so incredible, make you want to take the food home and put it on her table.
Man, I don't know where you're going with this conversation.
I'm
strict with is it live or is it Memorex?
Yes, sir.
It definitely ain't live. It definitely ain't live, bro. And for the people that are alive, it seems like if you pay attention, they meet some kind of untimely demise, i.e., Nipsey, i.e., DMX, i.e., Michael Jackson, Prince, and this list can go on and on. Chadwick Boseman, George Carlin. It's funny to me that even those who lie on the most corruptive levels, it meets some kind of untimely demise. Like, we don't like to talk about it, but Jeffrey Epstein, as perverted as he was live, bro. You knew what you was getting before you stepped in his domain. I'm telling you, it was right up in the New York Times about these parties this dude was throwing years ago, bro. Years ago. The movie Eyes Wide Shut is based. The movie Eyes Wide Shut gives you an open look as to what Epstein had been doing in New York. The movie Eyes Wide Shut. Anybody want to know what was going on? Watch the movie Eyes Wide Shut. Right? And here it is in the history of, I can't say the word out there, but in the history of the FBOP, the Attorney General of the United States of America has never visited a federal prison, ever. How do I know that? I used to work for the FBOP. That is what they call we would call it a train wreck, but that is what you call a oh my God, it's a catastrophe. You worked in corrections. That's the worst thing you want, is the Attorney General inside of a building with a whole bunch of inmates, because he's responsible for putting half of them there. All of a sudden, the very next day, Epstein hung himself. That night, after the Attorney General left, Epstein hung himself. The black book that Epstein had there at the jail just disappeared. The two guards that was supposed to have been on shift while he's on suicide watch. You've been a correctional officer. You know suicide watch. That means that I got my eye on you all day. All of a sudden, these two guards are asleep. Only thing they did was just lost their job. Come on, man. No. Seem like when you too live, they turn you into a Memorex.
Exactly. Toy, you want to talk to me? What's on your heart?
Oh man, absolutely, man. Hey, isn't that how you gonna get it done? No, you gotta act like it's Memorex, right? Because some of these things, some of these lies, like one good lie was that the Lord made them light folks beat and rape and carry on with us, because that was what the Lord wanted them to do. Lie. God didn't say to do that. I didn't say to enslave them people and beat them and carrying on and them things. But sometimes you need that to do what you do. You need that to put you to the next level sometimes. You can't tell yourself that everything is okay. You can't tell yourself that that's the devil telling you and then do it anyway. So you might have to lie to yourself to get it done. You might have to lie to yourself to get some of them things to do what they do. I know them people have lied to themselves to be in there fooling with all them little girls like in school. That's not no. Just because we think different, we humans. Y'all know them things y'all was doing to them little kids is wrong, but you have to lie to yourself to be able to indulge in them activities. Even most of us, when we think about some of the things we did, it wasn't because we didn't know no better.
Yeah.
We lied to ourselves to get us to do this, whether it's the drugs or the fornicating or the unhealthy behaviors and habits. Oh, it's gonna be okay if I smoke a pack of cigarettes a day for 20 years. Oh, it's gonna be okay if I drink to get behind this wheel. Oh, it's gonna be okay. Like, lying to ourselves helps us do some of the things that we know that are not right, man. And then
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it helps us cope with these things. But this is from a whole different level. The same way he can lie, he got some powerful people in positions that can lie too. No, we didn't know that was your land. Well, let me tell you something. We United States, we finna come take this from you. Take this
Mm-hmm.
little salve and it's gonna make you all better.
Wow.
You know, them lies, humans are gonna have to use them to do the devil's work. They got a lot of you to tell you that the Negroes, they dirty, they stinky, they funky, they don't want to do nothing. Go kill them all. Oh yeah, sure. But then when they need it, oh no, they weren't true. Come on to
Mm-hmm.
jokes. So
Mm-hmm.
that human ability that we have, one of them is allowing our minds to be used to make us deal with anything that we're going through. Period.
Wow. Wow. Rico, talk to me, brother.
Man, she knocked it out the park, man. It's like, I been going to a studio the past couple of weeks, seeing how the production works. And man, it's so meticulous.
Mm-hmm.
You would be amazed by the work that's put in to script everything perfectly for the video to come in at the right time when the anchor is talking, for the cues to come in, for you to come in at the right time after commercial,
Mm-hmm.
for you to, I mean, and this is not even live, this is all recorded.
Mm-hmm.
And I see the script, the printout, 6 or 7 pages of instructions and initials, and I'm like, man, that's a lot of scripting for a nice production. Then, I got home last night and I thought about how many people go through that mental script inside their mind, putting together a production to put
Yes.
on a facade.
Mm-hmm.
That same work, mental, they don't even have to write it down. And so, it's crazy because, to be honest with you, these people that's so hooked on being actors could have actually gone to Hollywood and been that if they had tried. Maybe that was their dream.
Exactly.
But,
Yep.
what I figured out is that a person that has $1 million ain't cool with just a million. They want another million.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a habit over here in this country of rounding things up to the nearest whole number.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes not even rounding it up to the nearest whole number, just rounding it up to the future aspirations of what we want to be worth. And then we'll live and we'll tell people that's what our value is. And it's like, it's I don't know if it's a programming or brainwashing, it's just an energy that goes on around this country. I don't know if it's like that everywhere else, but I think it all boils back down to image and just wanting to deceive. I don't want to say deceive people, just want people to believe that you are somewhere you are, and also make yourself comfortable. I like what Toya said. Some people do that to cope
Yeah.
because they aren't happy where they are. They want more. Maybe, and to be honest with you, sometimes they are in a good way, but they're so greedy.
Mm-hmm.
They're so greedy that they want more. They can't stand to know that somebody else is doing more than them, and they want to be the HNIC.
Come on.
And so they're going to put on that facade they are. So, it's that. Is it live? Is it Memorex, man? Most of this stuff we see is Memorex.
Yes, sir.
Most of it is thought out, scripted,
Mm-hmm.
scripted and planned. The SEC investigation that died before that, scripted and planned. Jeff Epstein, scripted and planned.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really, you have to be mindful, and enough to even pay attention to stuff like that. Don't just believe everything you see, whether it's on the mainstream media or whether it's just coming from the next person. Like, I got an aunt, man, that'll tell you one every time, man. I ain't like, she'll hear a story immediately after it happened, and 30 minutes later, she done changed it 3 times.
Mm.
I mean, it just, for some reason, it's sensationalism drives people too.
Yeah.
So it's not just about people acting and putting on about them being bigger than who they are, but sometimes people just need to make a story sound more sensational because it pumps their adrenaline.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a sickness.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much a sickness when you just out of the blue become a compulsive liar or make up a story, make up a lie,
Mm-hmm.
just to make something sensational and exciting to go around about people. And it's a lot that destroys a lot of people too.
Mm-hmm.
That's acting.
Exactly.
So we got a lot of actors around there.
Is it live, Leonard, or is it Memorex? What's on your heart, brother?
Well, it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both. Like if you just like what we were talking about earlier today, 1863 law.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's recorded. That's the way it's always been. That's history. So the newness of it is the fact live it's being changed.
Mm-hmm.
It's being repealed. That's the live version of that. The Memorex version is what it used to do, what it's been doing up to this point. And the reason why people are fighting against it because it really don't seem like much is the law itself changes anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you may have scratched that out, put a line through it in the law, and you not use that particular bit anymore. But what about the rest of it? The now part,
Yeah.
the live part. How does it
Mm.
affect what is actually happening? How can you record it before it happens? That type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Before you see it, before some other people see it. Sometimes y'all are getting it after the fact.
Yeah.
Sometimes things happen. It may not hit the news till 2 months later, 3 months later,
And you're
6 months later.
You're getting the watered down version.
And then there's a brand new fire started.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on.
The reason why, when Badger used to come on, I don't hear nothing about this. You know how long we've been trying to get this on the news? Since the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Martin Luther King did what he did. Is to show the inhumanity and brutality of white Americans here in the United States of America all over the world on that television and on that radio.
Mm-hmm.
So this just didn't start yesterday. So we have the history, we have the data on what has happened, record it. We can go back and look at it anytime we want. But what are we doing now with the live? What are you doing now? How are you acting to change that now? Or how are the people who don't want to change it acting? That's the now.
Mm-hmm.
That's the live version. The live version is the fact that you have a particular party that still wants to use the Memorex version.
Come on.
Of what had previously been recorded and how they previously behaved.
Mm-hmm.
But now we must change it. And that's what the fight should be about.
Mm-hmm. Good deal. Good deal. Badger, what's on your heart, brother?
I'm agreeing with what everyone's saying. There's some of the best lawyers we have in America are in our government.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a sad fact, or at least, well, that's my perspective anyway. And the fact of how much we have to fight to get certain things on the news and certain help get the public informed of what's going on it's crazy how hard we have to fight for it. And a lot of people don't see how much work goes behind closed doors just to make it a reality. How many people have to constantly be going toe to toe with news people and people in politics and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of work to get your voice heard in this country now.
Mm-hmm.
And would you believe, Badger,
that
I could pick up the phone and have a press conference this evening? Would that surprise you?
Knowing you, absolutely not. But you have been fighting for so long, you have the access.
But you could get that. You could get that access as well. Or guess what? That's the joy of freedom of speech and social media. Most of the people we all work on social media to get these stories out.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever the mainstream, but now social media has become mainstream media.
Yes, it has.
Likes wind up on your news in the evening.
Mm-hmm. Come on.
If you notice, if you watch any news, that's why I don't have to watch these news programs. Because I watch Facebook. Anybody get enough likes, guess what? They're gonna be on the news.
Exactly. Let me go to as a matter of fact, let me go to Tucson. Tucson, what's on your heart, brother? Is it live or is it Memorex?
You're gonna see it again. I'm just saying like that. You're gonna see it. You're gonna see it again. Then even go a little further, even the stuff that, and I really don't want to go there too long, but even your thoughts, that's gonna come up again. So let me go back to our time. We put everything out there. Everybody want to put everything out there, and nothing's. I said again, nothing's a secret. And let me explain. You can do whatever you want, and if you can't, you need to figure it out. We got Zoom. We got different apps that you can put on your phone, and you can post something and say, "I need to talk to y'all about this." You can go live and you say, "Okay, let's have this discussion. This is what's on my mind. I need you, and join me in this event or this topic." Look at what we're doing right now. Look at what we're doing right now. Some of you I don't even know. I've never seen. I don't even know where you are. But here we having a simple conversation that's going all over the place. Yes. We can replay it too. You can share it with your friend. If you got 100 friends and I got 100 friends, and we just put it out there, we can talk about something that'll turn the world upside down if we talk about it enough. If it's an interesting enough topic. For real. We can put something negative out there.
Yeah.
And have people fighting. We can go to war. You get somebody killed. Just by what you put out there. And I saw what you call it, husband, wife out there, and there you go. They get in the car and travel half across the country. Change their clothes in the car. Bring a pee bottle with them. And go kill somebody. Or, anyway, you can put negative and positive things out there.
Yeah.
But one thing about it is, you're going to see it again. It's going to come up. Nothing's secret. Even the things that you think that are secret, they're not secret. Some people go, you may live in Atlanta and you say, well, I'm going to go. Well, you don't have to. You think about Atlanta, because I was going to say you can go to New Orleans and let your hair down, but most people in Atlanta already got their hair down, unless they don't have no hair at all.
Watch your mouth. Hey, Toya with a T and Rico, coming to you next. I want to ask both of y'all this question. Are people more apt to believe in a lie than they are to believe in the truth? Toya, what do you say to that?
Hey, I say lie to me, make it sound fly to me, baby. You already know. We like lies. We like lies. It is what it is. We humans, we want what we want so bad. We want to do what we do. And like I said, in order for me, and I'm being 100, right? My father raised me to be a Christian. But in order for me to do half the things I did, I had to lie to myself. Lie to me, make it sound fly to me. I might not lie to other people. But in order to help me get out there and do the fornication and do this, do that, I'm lying to myself. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? So I think as humans, depending on what you want, because you can tell somebody good things. Oh, you're great. Oh, you're wonderful. Stop lying to me, man. Because that's not what they want to hear. That's not what they used to hear. And it could be good things. But you got to lie to yourself if somebody calls you a genius or somebody says that I believe in you. See, then now you got to lie to yourself. Oh, I can't do that. You lying to yourself. You are a human being. You are a God-created human being. You can do whatever you want to do, whatever you put your mind to, and when you add the Lord, you're gonna knock it out the park.
Come on.
But the devil deceives us with lies. Oh, you can't do this because you're a single parent. You can't do this because you're 44. You can't do this because you're black. And lies we tell, we cling to. So I think some people, yeah, we do like lies. I think sometimes we do want to be lied to so it can sound fly to us because we want to do what we want to do. But this is where we get God involved. Because when you put him in the mix, he's going to cover you no matter where you go and what you do, and he's going to help you see through the lies. Don't listen, he ain't telling the truth. That boy don't work for no Pillsbury. Nah, he ain't got no Lamborghini at the house. But if you don't want to hear it, you'll swat the Lord and you'll keep on going and you'll see signs. That's why at the end of the day, we think about it and we're like, oh yeah, now this happened. I remember when I think back, this, that, and the third happened. But you was lying to yourself, bro. You know, so that's that dominion. Choose what you want to be lied to about because your lies is your flies.
Wow. 678-381-1973. 678-381-1973. We're talking about, is it live or is it Memorex? Rico, what do you say to that, man? Do people love the truth or do they lean more toward accepting and or honoring a lie?
To be honest with you, I think it's more about the source of what a lie came from. Sometimes it sounds exactly like a lie, nothing but a lie. But when you look at who you want to put the trust in them, you want to believe them. You don't want to think they'll lie to you. You look at your news anchor, you don't want to think your news anchor would lie to you. You don't want to think your child, your mother or your father, your brother or your sister would lie to you. So it's about really the source. The situation it varies on how you want to explain whether or not people are willing to accept a lie or willing to accept the truth. I mean, we would prefer the truth, but then in some cases the truth ain't exciting enough. At 11, you know, now we really want to know that truth. Yeah, that truth is exciting. You know what I'm saying? But some people want to believe that lie because it makes them feel better. The plane that didn't hit a building, it just happened to crash in the middle of a field because everybody on the plane decided to get heroic and overtake the plane. That lie makes everybody feel better than knowing that it was shot down. The lie that hijackers even hit the buildings would be better than saying that, you know what, that was some other sinister plot in place. So yeah, sometimes we want to believe the lies that makes us feel better. Or like I said, we want to believe the person that told us the lie. But that sensationalism, oh man, that I don't know if it comes from TV or radio, but when the War of the Worlds hit on the radio and it got the response that it got around the United States, that sensationalism and then the power and effect that it had on people to really move them in real life and live, not in Memorex, but in life, people started responding. Oh, we're being taken over by aliens. They chaos.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you know that sensationalism, it worked, and I think people realized how powerful it was and what kind of effect it could have, and they kept using it. They kept using it, and it hasn't stopped since then. Because to be honest with you, that's not the biggest piece of sensationalism. Don't get me wrong, or lies. That's not the biggest lie that was told, but it really showed how much of how it could work, especially on a wide scale, media wide. It showed. But I want to clarify something. Went in a certain direction with that live or Memorex thing, and I really shouldn't even been talking about the script part of it because most of everything that is recorded is still recorded live. You know, when you do a TV show, recorded live.
It is, yeah.
Eddie Murphy did a stand-up routine. Cat Williams, it's recorded live in front of a studio audience sometimes. You know, they have a chance to edit it and put you a better product out there as a viewing audience that didn't see it live, but the person that saw it live sees the flaws, the flubs, the bloopers. They get to witness all of that. So, you know, most of the time it is Memorex. It was recorded live, then edited. But if you got to see it live, you got to see everything in its full glory, unless you got awesome actors.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Rick, I'm sorry, Badger, welcome back, Badger. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, thankfully they're going to take care of the internet issue I have right now.
Good deal. Good deal. Do you think some people believe a lie before they believe the truth? We're talking about, is it live or is it Memorex? Do you think a lot of people believe a lie before they believe that truth?
I think it depends on where they're from.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think some people do believe lies over truth. Because I also feel that some people are afraid of truth. It requires you to have to acknowledge that there are things that either they have to work on, or I'm trying to figure out how to word it. I guess there's a term that I could use that can kind of describe it. Looking through rose-colored glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Where a person doesn't want to believe that, our government's corrupt or that all this stuff is going on. They just want to see all this nice frou-frou good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Leonard, what do you say to that, man? Do you think more people are apt to believe a lie over the truth, Leonard?
I don't believe they're apt to believe a lie. I believe they believe what is common to them or what sounds true to them.
Mm-hmm.
You get to the very sickest extent is where you don't care if it's true or not.
Wow.
And it's fine.
How numb is that though? How numb is that?
But it's Fox News.
Wow.
Fox News. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know if I'm embarrassed or I just would assume that people would be ashamed of being that ignorant.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I mean, I just because I don't like to appear ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm thinking about it. If you know it's wrong and you repeat it and you act as if it's the truth, is it that you just don't care? Which they don't, because it fits into their narrative that they're created for themselves.
Yeah.
And this is why you start collecting untruths, is because you've already created the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And everything goes along with your narrative. And me, I'm not a type of person that, man, if I'm lying, you all need to say something.
Mm-hmm.
If you think I'm lying,
mm-hmm.
or if I lie, say something, because maybe I don't know. Or maybe you have some information to share with me that I don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just let me stay in my ignorance. And too many times, like say for instance, I'm not a great person to have a conversation with because I'll stop you in mid conversation. Could you clarify that for me, please?
Mm-hmm. What that mean?
I don't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like, I don't want to say filthy, but I don't know another word right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's so deceptive.
Yeah.
When people purposely lie, it's okay to make a mistake. It's like, if I make a mistake, I'll come back. Let me clarify what I said earlier.
Yeah.
Like I was going to tell you, because I'm laughing at myself because you said Russia froze the people. You heard people talk about Russia froze the pipeline.
Yeah.
Do you know what I actually thought that meant?
What's that?
That somebody dropped the temperature. I'm like, how would someone do that? But that's how you talk.
Yeah.
Or that's how you heard them talk. Well, really, it was a cyber attack attributed to a criminal organization or group from Russia, based in Russia.
Yeah.
Not the Russian government attacked the pipe, or somebody was there with some nitrogen blaster that blew up the pipeline. Yeah, but see how
Exactly.
you said it. You
Yeah.
didn't lie.
Mhm.
You just said it in a way that made me say, "Hold on, man. That don't. Let me go look." Because I
Yeah.
just called people ignorant, and I want to make sure what the case may have been.
Mhm.
But see, if your narrative is that the Russians is bad and we always gonna fight the Russians and the Russians ain't no, you gonna blame everything over there. You
Yeah.
ain't even gonna read the rest of the story. It's
Mhm.
Russia. It's Russia
Yeah.
attacking America and
Yeah.
blah blah.
Russia.
Somebody counting on that story. Somebody making money on that story.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know.
And see, and you can imagine, I'm sitting there. I'm at the gas station trying to get my gas. I'm just trying to get my gas. Three other people sitting there talking about. And then the young lady, she got a little phone and she said, "Well, Russia froze the gas line." I said,
And when you said it, how do you
oh,
freeze? Well, I mean, I guess it could. I don't know, but that's what he said.
yeah, yeah. Cause
I gotta
like I
go
said,
find out.
they asked me to say, "What you think?" I said, I'm not even gonna comment on that food. I said, I don't know. I said, I don't know. I said, I don't know. Y'all go. I don't know.
And
We go.
really, it was a cyber attack
Yeah, but
on the infrastructure that maintained the pipeline.
that was the narrative they put out there, man. They was out there actually talking about Russia froze the gas lines. I'm like, man, these conspiracy, man, come on,
But
man.
you see how it's just
Yeah,
miscommunication.
yeah.
But if it fit in a narrative, folk gonna run with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
And they asked me, man, they pulled me into the conversation. What you think? I say, I don't know. I don't know.
And it's
I'm not.
sad because that lets you know how uninformed and simple-minded they are. Because number one,
Yeah,
you got to be simple-minded to think that you don't know how that functions. So you got to be simple-minded to think that happened. But number two, to even hear that information and
mm-hmm.
to actually just put in the mind frame what they mean by that. It lets you know, man,
Mm-hmm.
you can't be paying attention too much.
Yeah.
It's really sad. It's really it's very revealing
Mm-hmm.
that we live in when you get out in public in general and you listen to people talk about important issues and it sounds like they got the mind of a kindergarten.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were serious, man. Rico, I just said,
The Russians are froze the gas.
yeah, yeah. I
I
said,
can hear you, man.
they're like, what you think? What you think? I got my brother in the car and his lady in the back seat and everything. And these people talking to me about this craziness, man. I said, I said, I don't know. I said, I don't know. I don't know. Y'all go ahead. Y'all go ahead. Toya, what did he talk to me, man? Because is it live or is it Memorex? But that's just the kind of thing that you run into in this world. People have their thoughts and they're gonna try to pass their thoughts on to you to make you think like they think. Well, there could be no there could be no facts involved in it at all. Talk to me, Toya. Toya with a T. Toya, wake up and go to sleep. Wake up
I
and
done
go.
walked away from the phone for a
Yeah.
second.
Yeah.
Well, while we waiting, me and my son had a very interesting conversation yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
He's 13,
Mm-hmm.
and we were talking about this gas crisis. So I explained to him how important oil is in the world,
Mm-hmm.
and how oil is used is refined into gasoline. And he was just asking all these questions about people's motives and intentions, which lets me know he wants to know, why is the world like this?
Mm-hmm.
And so I explained to him about greedy men
Mm-hmm.
and what people will do for money, regardless of how it affects people,
Yeah.
and how it's important for good people to be governed, to be governors and over things, because good people make better decisions than people who are more interested in profit.
Yeah.
And so he says, well, why? And I was talking to him about war, and this is why we have war. He's like, so why do we allow this to happen? It's
Mm-hmm.
because of greed.
Yep.
It pushes people to fight for power to do these things. So then it developed in him the understanding, okay, power. Power don't have to, could be for good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we have to support the good people in power as opposed to the bad people in power.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, well, why would someone do? I said, 2 commandments: love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and all that is within you, and treat others how you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
Always ask yourself, would you want it to happen to you?
Yeah.
If the answer is no, then you know you shouldn't do it. That
Mm-hmm.
is the check for everyone listening. If you got a problem and don't know right from wrong, would you want it to be done to you?
Mm-hmm.
Would you want it to? Because those people who want bad things done to them are mentally deranged.
Yeah.
Those
Something ain't
people who have these issues need counseling and therapy because
right.
they may have been something may have happened to them. They may have been abused. They may not have the privilege of being around someone who cared about them enough to treat them right. So they grew up in a world of confusion this way.
Mm-hmm.
And now their behaviors show really what's inside of them. So that's a conversation you have when because some people say, well, how did this all begin? But you know what? There's some grown people asking that same question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad my son asking at 13 so I can shape and mold his opinion and allow him to test himself with his friends and his peers to make sure he's the good person and he doesn't want to be the bad person. So that's what's very important. And I know, like, I see Rico shaking his head. What you think about that, Rico?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I mean, I I told Raheem yesterday, I'm a patriarch on my mom's side of the family. Been a
Mm-hmm.
patriarch for over 20 years now. And I had to tell a couple of my younger cousins, don't ever be afraid to ask. If you don't ask, you won't know. You'll just be running around dumb assuming. And then sometimes you can assume the wrong thing for a long time and you find out a lot later down the road that you were wrong. But what I'm starting to realize too is not only are people afraid to ask because it makes them look like they're dumb if they ask, but convenience and instant gratification has made people avoid wanting to take the time to go and look in the details. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when we research, we don't understand when we read the word research. When we're researching, we are looking for the details, all the intimate information, the small details of the information that really shows why this situation exists, or what it is we're researching is why we need to research. And so I just believe that convenience and instant gratification, people like news so fast. They like everything that comes to them so fast that they don't take the time to get the correct information. They just want to go off the first thing that comes to mind. And then what comes to mind really is what attracts their attention. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think last week they made a couple of headlines talking about 2 million people, maybe 2 million or 4 million people signed a petition to get a full stimulus check. And just
Mm-hmm.
that situation with Raheem talking about the frozen pipeline. I got it in my ear before I had already read it, but then I heard it again. Uh-oh. Full check. Man, when I get that, I'm going to give me that big screen. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, wait a minute now. I look at the news all the time. I love being informed. I look at the news all the time. I'm always scrolling through news articles on the internet. And I haven't seen anything where Biden or Congress or anybody has even voted on a stimulus check. So how is it that you saying that we getting a fourth stimulus check, but they just signed a petition for a fourth stimulus check? Man, it just went down my screen on my phone, and they ain't never wrong. So I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, man, I ain't gonna be able to prove to him that he's wrong. Even once I pull it up on my phone and show him 5 different articles that's saying petition, petition, petition. Well, no, all I know is they said, you see, this is what it was. They knew that they were wrong. After I showed them, you made a mistake. You just read the few words that applied to you. The words that were in favor of you was money. They finna give us some more money. That was all you saw. You didn't see 2 million signs petition.
Mm-hmm.
Pulled all that out. That I ain't concerned with that part of it. Oh, okay. We getting another one. Uh-oh, let me call. Wait a minute. What about all the information before that? So that really goes to show you how instant gratification, convenience, and cravings or urges, the things that you urge or want the most, is really what you want to look for when you're looking at the information, and that's
Right.
a dangerous thing.
Because I'm more interested in knowledge. What I started doing was, a lot of people say, "Did you see that video about?" I said, "You know what? I'm gonna read it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather read it first because man, you should see that video. You should see that video. I want to read the story. I want to get it because I've seen some headlines with pictures that don't even go with them.
Mm-hmm.
They'll use a picture from a long time ago for a brand new story to prove their point. If a picture ain't available, they'll make one. And so when you read it, you be like, that picture don't eat. Hey, that's not such and such that they talking about in the story.
Mm-hmm.
But look, the headline says this, and the story says, I said, that is so misleading. But if you just go on headline, and then next time you read the headline, now you telling everybody else about the headline. You ain't read the story. Just the headline.
Your own narrative on it. You don't start going into details and everything. Well, girl, they say.
Like Badger found out. Well, that sounds like a great bill.
Okay.
Well, then Badger looks and says, well, why the black people in Congress, why they got a problem with the bill? But the headline is a great bill giving all this to Kemp and his work to get rid of this Civil War 1863 citizens arrest law that was used to torture African Americans. But when you read it, the very African Americans in Congress that are fighting for our rights and to make things better, why were they against the bill? Because what we have been fighting for, even with the mother of this brother who was killed, because of this happening, and now this bill is put forth during this time, she thanks people for this bill. But does the bill address the issue properly? That's the question. And yes, the headline sounds great and it's a step, but will it address the issue that we've been fighting about? Will it stop because bills don't stop killings. Let's get that straight right now. What it does do is it provides law and guidance when you bring these individuals to trial in a court of law. But don't forget about all these other rules that could keep them from never going to trial. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Those laws ain't went nowhere. Like I said, look at the bill. You'll see they still giving certain people provisions to make citizens arrests. So even though the article headline says one thing, if you get into the meat of the bill, it says something else. And so it's, especially with social media, that's the big thing. It's forming opinions.
Yeah.
It's to form an opinion. Your news program, it's to form an opinion of things. Now you get some outlets, like I like the BBC and the different types of people, because they give you different points of view. But if you already know what side you're on before you hear the details, now I can go along with people and I can say for the most part that if it's a particular organization or whatever, we support that organization. But as New Order National Human Rights Organization, I have to vet you.
Yeah.
I have to go and find out, is this something really we should be support? Yeah, I know all of our friends may be doing it, but let's look at it and see if we agree, or if we agree with the same response that should be given to the public and things of that nature. So we have to be very careful, but I believe that everybody should try information. If Rico says something that I don't know and I never heard of, guess what I'm doing? As soon as me and Rico get off this platform,
research.
If I ain't doing it while we on this platform. Not that I don't trust Rico. It's just that I've never heard about it before. So I got to go get an opinion, research and do some research before I form a definite opinion.
It really shows your interest and concern.
Yes.
Go find out more about it. See, I could tell you so much of it. You get what I'm saying? But if
Mm-hmm.
you're really interested in it, of course, that should be an introduction for you to go and find out more. That's all I'm really trying to do anyway. I ain't trying to teach you and give you the whole ins and out on it. But I'm gonna mention this to you now. You go look it up. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna wait till tomorrow to bring this up though. But I'm gonna hit on it now. The guy in Jacksonville, Arkansas, that was executed 4 years ago, and all of a sudden now they don't ran DNA and found out
Yeah.
one that did it.
Mm. Mm.
Can you imagine that man's existence on death row, knowing they were fixing to take his life, and he didn't do that, man? They wrong, man. They wrong. I mean, not only is he saying this, I'm saying it. They wrong.
Every time they wrong when they do
killed
it.
me and I ain't did this, man. I was just this man's neighbor.
Yeah.
They wrong, man. So it's up to me to inform people. Look, man, this is what's going on. It's not in Alabama. It's not in Georgia. It's not in North Carolina. This is in Jacksonville, Arkansas. Another Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
I talk about the case that happened down here. We've been waiting 5 or 6 years to get some justice for this man that was executed in his front yard, ambushed. Deatrice Barkley.
Mm-hmm.
Look it up. That information is out there, man. It's so important to be well informed, because the last thing you want to do is walk around on this earth existing, not knowing what's going on around you. If there's a serial killer or a serial rapist in your neighborhood, a serial child molester in your neighborhood, you need to know, so you won't have your child out here vulnerable. So your life won't be out here vulnerable in the next victim, because you're not paying attention to the information that's out there, the important information.
I want to add something to that.
Go ahead.
The issue I see is there aren't people, and a lot of people in general don't want to do the research. They believe what they're told, and they don't go look for it for themselves. Like Leonard just said or pointed out.
I'm sorry, a big part of that is because of the fact of the source where they get it from. They get it from the news, and surely the news is not gonna lie to me. Surely the news is not gonna put this story out there if it's not true. There's no way they would do that, and they go believe in it instead of doing, like you say all the time, like Leonard just said, their research. They don't do their research. They don't have time to do that.
Well, look at Abraham Lincoln. So many people think that he freed all the slaves in the South. Sure. But did you know that he told all the northern states and places that were controlled by northern forces that they could keep them? In the same documentation that so many people praise him for? Because they haven't read it all. They've only read page 1.
Yeah.
There's 5 pages to that thing. So if they're limiting our knowledge on something like that significant, then what else are they doing it with? Why are they only showing one part of the bill on social media and not sharing a link that lets a person read the entire thing? You know, if they're only showing bits and pieces of what this bill or whatever law they're trying to pass is, you might want to go read the whole thing to see if there's a hidden agenda in it.
Exactly. Talk to me, Leonard.
Think of how the Republicans railed against the Affordable Health Care Act. Do you know that since the deadline has been extended for this registration period, that over 1 million Americans have used it? Which means 1 million Americans needed it. Think about it. If you no longer have a job, back before, guess what? You wouldn't have health care. But now, because of the Affordable Health Care Act, you can go on there and find health care that you can afford.
Making a huge difference in a lot of people.
Right. So, and think about it. You have to be this notion that you somehow can give other people control and never go revisit them, never talk to them, just vote. And then you talk about, well, they ain't did nothing. Come on now, go look and see what they did. Now, they may not did nothing that helped you, but they did something now. They did something. Trust me, else they wouldn't have wanted to be in the spot. They wanted to have that position to do something. And if you don't hold them accountable to that something, they'll go on their own agenda on what they think. So that's why we have to constantly put input. We have to constantly go to the meetings. We have to constantly be in their face. Hey, we need you to go propose this bill. Those are the things you have to do. That's what self-government is about. And we have a right to choose it.
Mm-hmm.
If the majority has chosen it, then these are the people that make the rules. The majority of people who voted.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. If you have a population where you outweigh a different opposing side, all you have to do is go vote and take power. That's all you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Try it.
Yeah.
Try it.
I promise you it'll work for you.
10,000 votes beat 9,999 every time.
Only by one.
More votes beat piles of money all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to go vote.
Yep.
If poor people are so concerned, y'all should be the first at the polls to vote.
Mm-hmm.
Because they doing whatever they doing to you. You're going to be the victim.
Yeah.
They're making laws and things based on your patterns and behavior and things like that. Like, say, for instance, with disenfranchisement, we talked about these voter rights laws and suppression. If you actively see them trying to disenfranchise you, that should motivate you to say, hey, man, I got to protect myself and my right to vote. Don't believe these people that call in here talking about voting don't matter and you don't have to vote and they coming to take my gun. Go back to that channel you watch all the time.
Mm-hmm. The one you love so much.
Voting don't matter. Yes, it does. And you ignorant for saying it don't.
Mm-hmm.
I can't listen to you no more after that. Really. It used to be my job where, like Rico, you may not like somebody. You may want to jump across that table and choke them. But what you have to do is sit there and try to explain the pros and cons.
Yeah.
And everything and hope that they understand or give them a pamphlet they can read in their spare time. But arguing about it, let's just give you information.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't never seen a person win a basketball game for scoring less points. Never had.
Don't happen.
Usually, I ain't been alive but 50 years. If it's happened, you old man, Raheem. You know what I mean? Where they just get a game to the people scored the fewest points.
You tried
I
so
don't
hard.
know enough.
You should win. You tried so hard. You should win. And don't worry about the scoreboard. Oh, no, we're not going to worry about that. You tried so hard. Look at you sweating, and you should be the winner. Badger doesn't work like that.
Say, what?
You should win because you tried. You didn't score enough points, but you should be the winner because you tried so hard. I mean, you played hard. Surely you didn't score enough points. I understand that. The score is 100-5, but you should win because you tried so hard.
I'm gonna pick you as the winner. Dad are rich.
Right.
You come from a good family. You come from this man. Yeah, you the winner. He won. Can you imagine doing a 100-meter dash and beat out about 2 or 3 meters, and then they come and give it to the second place man because he was a Rothschild?
Exactly.
They just look past you now. Who won first? Oh, he'll cross the line first.
Exactly. And it's crazy. Badger, what's on your heart?
I mean, something that shows that they participated or they got second or third place, sure, but to treat everyone equally, especially in like competition, I've never agreed with that because to me that lowers self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
It lowers the motivation to better oneself. And some people would argue with me saying, well, if they're only getting second place because somebody's better, then, they're not going to have motivation to succeed. And I'm like, every time I've ever been beaten, it's made me more motivated to actually get better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Or learn to respect the person that's better at something than I am.
Mm-hmm.
Because, that's their gift.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something that person is probably not good at that I am, that I could beat them at.
Exactly.
So like everything's a perspective, and I'm not a big fan of that.
Now, Leonard, I understand, Leonard, that you was running as hard as you can. You got halfway around. You're supposed to run around the track one time, Leonard, but we know that when you got halfway, you got a little tired, and you sat on the track. So we're gonna send our golf cart to get you and pull you the rest of the way around the track and give you a reward because you tried so hard, Leonard. How is that? Is that look? Is it live? Or is it Memorex? How does that work?
Hey man, the reason why people do certain things, they may have good intentions, but I'm not teaching nobody how to lose and telling them it's, that's the aim. The objective is to win. Everybody shouldn't have the same because everybody ain't doing the same work. Everybody ain't putting the same thing in. See, I'm one of them people. I'm one fight you'll never usually see me involved in is that one about income inequality. There should be an inequality in income because some people work more than other people.
Yeah.
It's just a fact. Some people want more, so they work more.
Yeah.
And then you got some people sit around and think that after these people have worked so hard, now I'm presenting a view. I don't want people to get it tainted. Why should I give you my money? Why have I worked hard to keep a roof over my head and everything else? Should I pay your rent when you could have worked just as hard as I did? You didn't want it till you saw me with it.
Yep.
You didn't want to work for it, but now you want to take mine?
Just don't seem right.
See, but this is some people's mentality. Like I said, you want to hit it, but you ain't put in. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't no puff pass around here.
I'm from that. You know our generation. I got 5 on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Spread that across the world. I got 5 on it.
Yeah.
Which means you need to add something to this if you want something out. You can't just walk up and everybody else don't put in their money and you ain't put none in and expect and act like you entitled to it.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, homie, can I hit some of that?
Exactly.
Yeah, and Rico, that's how this thing goes, man. You gotta have some sweat in the game. You gotta have some skin in the game, man. You gotta have some kind of skin in the game or sweat or something in it if you want to win. If you want to get if you want to reap some of the benefits, you gotta have something in the game. What do you say to that, Rico?
I'm gonna chime in real quick because I'm gonna have to get off the phone.
Okay, go ahead.
Because my internet people are here.
Okay.
I agree with a lot of what's being said. I feel people should figure out how to learn to be responsible. If you teach your kids that they don't have to work hard to earn something, what do you expect in the future? Are you going to gripe about them when they get older because they ain't trying or trying to better themselves in their life? That kind of stuff. So, it's me in that perspective. That's what a lot of things, boil down to. So that's pretty much where I'm coming from.
Good deal. And it's right. It's a learning thing. You gotta teach them. You have to teach them, and because if you don't, they'll never know. Rico, talk to me, brother. What's on your heart?
I'm trying to. I don't know, really and truly, man. I sort of got a little lost with where it just went to compared to where it was. I'm gonna just hit on just purpose, man. Some people need to have some purpose out here. They should have a purpose to want to be well informed. They should have a purpose to want to have correct information. For some, it's more convenient and it's easier to just repeat the first thing that came to them. And not only is it more convenient, but it makes them feel better. Like Toya said earlier, you know what I'm saying? If it fits your narrative a lot of times you want to repeat it the exact way you heard it, you know, and depending on what class you come from, what segment of society you come from, it might benefit you to always hear that a cop killed a black person, so now they got to be racist, like with the Mekhi Bryant thing, you know. People didn't take the time out not only to go and look into the details of that situation, but they didn't put themselves in that cop's shoes. Sometimes you have to look at the reality of things. Like you said, is it live or Memorex? Y'all looking at the video. You know what I'm saying? But put yourself in that cop's shoes and imagine you pulling up on the scene, not knowing what's going on. And then all of a sudden you see all this chaos. Not only in this chaos, you hear the most dominant thing being said and the most threat being made is, I almost stabbed the F out of you.
Yeah.
Opinion, man. Black people went with the first narrative. And did it again.
Yep.
Yes. Everybody racist. Nah, everybody ain't racist. Time a black person get killed by a white person or a white cop, it ain't gonna be a racist situation. Every time a white woman get raped, it ain't gonna be a black man.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But see, that narrative, man, some people choose to accept the narrative that makes them feel good, that gives them some type of adrenaline. And so, you know, I just feel that it's our duty not only to receive the right information, but to go and find out if we have heard the right information before we repeat it. I've been one of the people most guilty of just going off a headline and sharing it, or going off a headline and putting my opinion. Then somebody come back and say, you didn't read it. I go read it, I'm like, look at me. I just ran with the first, I just assumed. But you know, they say, when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me.
Exactly. Exactly. And
So,
see,
you know,
and that's the thing right there, Rico. And is it? I think it's real big of a person yourself. Speaking of yourself right now, to actually go back and say, look here, I made a mistake, man. I didn't do my homework, man. I fell for the okie doke. I fell for the okie doke. You know, they put it out there. I saw the headlines, and immediately I got emotional, and that's what I did.
bait.
Yeah, let me come back and correct that. Nah, that wasn't what it is. Let me come back and correct it. And so I mean, that's huge right there, man. That's huge. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that's to me, I would rather put out the wrong. One thing I hate to be is wrong. I hate to be wrong. I don't like to be considered a liar. I don't like to be looked at as manipulative. And so, in the process of me not liking to be wrong, sometimes I might correct a person when they're wrong because there's people picking up that information. And that for some reason, I just can't sit still and listen to somebody pumping the wrong information into somebody. I can't sit by and watch somebody misprogram or sabotage people. That's just something I cannot do. And so I don't know if that's an integrity thing that people have to ask themselves about, or like I said, laziness. I put it in the chat group. Convenience and instant gratification, man. It's like it started an epidemic amongst behaviors with people that I mean, it's an atmosphere that's just terrible. It's a terrible atmosphere. We're willing to run with the least information and then get ourselves riled up about it or go and push it out to other people to repeat it. I feel like it's more important for me to be right. And I don't think I'm right all the time. Don't get me wrong. If I debate with you 9 out of 10, I ain't gonna debate if I don't know what I'm talking about.
Exactly. Toya with a T. Is it live or is it Memorex? Is it live or is it Memorex? What's on your heart? Toya with a T. Wake up and go to sleep. Wake up and go to sleep.
That Puerto Rico connection messing up now. Now you call in again, Toya.
Yeah, exactly. She on the phone line. I think she might have had to step away, maybe on the other line. But
Yeah.
Leonard, what's on your heart, Leonard? Then we're gonna go to Goddess. We got Goddess with us this morning as well. Good to have you, sis. Leonard, what's on your heart?
I was really just thinking about more points about that conversation me and my son had, and his asking different questions as it relates to. Do you think the devil makes people do bad things? Satan says Satan make people do bad things. I said no, but Satan will surely assist you in doing those things.
Yeah.
You know, so it's how we shape. I mean, you know what he already has said. You know, it would seem as if the current generation would try to make it better for the next generation and the next generation. I said, there are lots of people trying to do that. We just need more people to get on that team and people like yourself to grow up and continue to do the good thing and do the right thing, regardless. And we have it's a fight. And he compares it, like he said, you know what? That's just like Naruto. I says, because life only has a few themes. And it's these themes have gone around for civilization to civilization to civilization, good versus evil.
Yeah.
All of your, and then he talked about how the Naruto characters line up with, you know, certain characters that I mentioned to it, and how things are. And those themes are here in America. They are in other parts of the world. They're even in your little relationships between your friends.
Yeah.
And how you treat one another. And why discourse comes about and why you fall out with people. Well, guess what? People with a lot of money, guess what they do when they get mad? They build war machines to defend and fight people they don't like or don't agree with. And so now we have said, well, wow. He said, why do people do it? Because of money.
Yeah, exactly.
Our defense budget in the United States is larger than most people's economy around the world. Just our defense part of our budget in America is greater than other countries' entire GDP.
Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. Goddess. Good morning, young lady. There you go. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. Good morning.
Guys, we're talking about, is it live or is it Memorex? And I'm going to ask you this question. I'm going to go back a few pages and ask you this question. Do you think more people are more apt to believe a lie than they are to believe in the truth?
It depends on if the truth is laid out to them. I think that a lot of people don't go to the point to even find out the truth. Even the prosecutors.
What if the truth is so inconvenient and the lie is more accessible? Which one would they believe?
They're gonna believe the lie over the truth, depending on that person. See, certain people's idea is to actually look into the truth, like prosecutors. We have a guy here by the name of Kevin Strickland right now. He was never, ever, he's been in jail for over 43 years. And wrongful conviction. I mean, this is a continual story, like Arkansas, Mr. Lee, a continual story. Like, this is a continual story of prosecutorial misconduct and just the worst case of manifest of injustice. I mean, after they found out that, you know, they knew that Mr. Lee wasn't guilty. This is the one that was already put to death in Arkansas, but they knew that he wasn't guilty. They just decided to say, oh, well, we still need to continue on with the law. And they went on ahead and killed him anyway, even though they knew he wasn't guilty. They had no evidence. There was just no evidence. So it depends on the narrative. You know what I'm saying? It just really depends. Certain people are supposed to find out the truth. They're not supposed to go with the first thing of the word. I'm working a case right now that is being done. The police officer, now they have it where the sheriff's department comes in. Is not the sheriff's department. The highway patrol comes in, investigates the police department. Like if it's a cop shooting, right? Well, he just talked to the KCMO police department and just, it was like they just talked to, and then that's what they went with. Whatever narrative that the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department stated, they went with that narrative instead of investigating to themselves. Where they shot this little boy point blank in the head, and they didn't look. They didn't bother to talk to the witness that was sitting in there.
Wow.
Where he had a bad arm, he couldn't move because his arm was already messed up. So he can overpower, just like common sense. How can you overpower 3 to 4 cops? You got a bad arm, and then you already to the side, and you got shot point blank 3 times to the head. Well, 2 times to the head. On the temple. That is worse than George, whatever his name is.
George Floyd.
That's just George Floyd. That's worse. The worst case of murder than George Floyd.
Wow.
But wait till it's getting ready to come out. It's getting ready to come out. Y'all see it. Y'all see it. I've been doing my investigation.
We're gonna definitely be open to look at that. And if you don't mind, share something with me. Send it to me. Don't mind.
Well, I'll send it to you.
Okay. Toya, want to tell you back?
It's still under. It ain't hit yet, but it's coming out. I just gave y'all the tea.
Got you. Good deal. Good. Appreciate that. Toya, want to tell you back with us? Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
I'm just listening because we're giving a good example to my man Badger, like what Goddess does, what Rico does, what I do as activists is, that's our main thing, is exposing stories.
Yeah.
To get people to know what's going on. I need to know what's going, if what's going on in Alabama is going on in Georgia, is going on out west, out there in St. Louis, is it, Goddess?
Kansas City.
Kansas City. Where we can see, hey, this ain't just happening in one place.
Yeah.
Rico just threw out a name I had never heard.
Exactly.
This is all over the place. So there's never going to be a one source for anything. We need to get stories out. We need to get people to know that actively. I tell some people, I was sitting with a bunch of money people, okay, and they were talking about their activism and what they wanted to do. So one guy said, well, should we do it if we think we can't get 1,000 people to show up? We ought to do it because it's the right thing to do. If don't but 10 people show up.
Exactly.
If I can get 10 people come today, I bet you if I get these same 10 to come, that 10 gonna be 20. Before you know it, it'll be 1,000. But we can't sit back in these ivory seats and act like, is that worthy of me going out there and blah, blah. I don't been out there with a sign with 2 or 3 people. I don't been at meetings, opening meetings in the community for my alone until somebody show up because I said I would be there. So, there's people that will always be fighting. We just need more people to get involved in the actual organization of the fight and struggle. That's what makes the difference. What you can accomplish, like what Goddess was telling us that story about that young brother. You have to get more people involved and be concerned. And before you know it, your activism may turn into one line that could be added to the law to keep that from happening. Like with Georgia here, when we're executing individuals here in the state of Georgia, we must force them to say, stop executing people just because one person, somebody say they saw something. That's not good enough.
Yeah.
You executing a man because one person said they saw it, and then years later, this person come back and recant the story. You can't bring that brother back to life, that person back to life, or a person with disabilities. That's the big thing now, executing people with disabilities who have no mental ability to understand what they have done. But you executed them. Some people had laws saying you wouldn't execute them. But guess what? When the color of the person changed, ain't got no problem executing individuals with mental disabilities. And I go to invited to the organization, and I don't see but one other black person. One other black, and a man that's on death row right now to be executed is black. Come on, man. We got to do better. We all, can do a little bit. Everybody ain't got to do everything. I wouldn't advise you put everything into this, but some, at least as often as you go to church. How about that?
Yeah, exactly. Do something. Do something.
Yeah, do something. You go in 3 and 4 choir rehearsals during the week. You cut one of them choir rehearsals and go down there and help the mission out.
Exactly. Rico, talk to me, brother.
Well, one thing for sure I do know is that people would rather live in a Memorex time than lie. Some people would rather watch and repeat the same things over and over again. Sometimes it's movies, sometimes it's just the way they live. They like to repeat it over and over again. They like that familiarity. Maybe they get hooked on it and addicted to that emotion or that feeling that comes with it.
Is it a comfort level?
It has to be a comfort level. Me, I'm different. I tell people all the time, man, I can't watch the same movie 2 or 3 times. Again, I mean, it's just some things I just cannot continue to repeat doing, but some people like that cycle. So they like memories. They like to stop it, rewind it, and play it again. And act like they ain't never seen it before. To see if I don't understand it. Can you get the same emotion as you got the first time you saw it? Because the first time you saw it, you didn't expect it. But the second time you saw it, you should expect it. But if you don't pay attention, you're only looking for something that you want to see, then you might have to watch a movie 4 or 5 times. You might get that same emotion every time and forget that you went through it the last time because you're so distracted. And that's what I'm seeing in this world we live in now. We got so many distracted people to the point, especially when it comes to us, that we can't even realize this cycle. And in Jacksonville, Arkansas, the other guy in Georgia years ago named Calvin Johnson got arrested because they needed somebody to arrest. And when he was arrested, they told him that they knew he didn't commit the rape. The woman identified another man. They still kept locked up because somebody got to pay for this. And that man he did 17 years in prison. But then you got people that form a church. You got people that could kill Emmett Till that could go back and do magazine story later on and say, yeah, we did it. People that could bomb the church and kill 4 little girls and pass the story down to their grandkids. Yeah, man, I was the one bombing that church. Well, one of the grandkids told on you because they were disgusted. So now I talk about this guy in my hometown, Deatrice Barkley, DeatriceBarclay. He was ambushed in his yard and shot in the back of his head. My dad is the only witness in the state of Alabama has yet, after 5 years, to come and ask him about anything he heard or saw. And they let the guys go home that night after they killed him. The guy that killed him stood over my friend and recorded him. They had to go out there and tell the police, look, that boy up there was recording or taking pictures. Y'all might need to go and check him out. Okay, we'll check him out. They waited 20 or 30 minutes, and then my dad had to tell another cop, look, man, I think that boy up there had something to do with it, man. I heard that girl say he was shot. He was standing over him recording. It still ain't been questioned. My thing is this right here. With the tape and the video that was recorded, the video, did he keep that as a keepsake like the other people in the past that like to brag about the murder?
I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
And not only that, who all did he share it to?
Yep.
Who all did he share it to? It might go all the way up through the lines of the highest ranking officials in the state of Alabama. It might lead out to the other states of groups of people. So I mean, we don't realize that this is still going on today. They got away with killing Emmett Till. Then they get away with putting us in prison and we innocent. Now look at this. This is 2021, 2017, you got DNA research that can prove a man's DNA is not the person that killed this woman, and you still won't utilize it. You execute. Then you'll come back 4 years later and say, oh, he didn't do it. So that's our reality. We living in Memorex because if we were living live, we'll pay attention to it.
Exactly.
And anytime you have a system that would withhold any information.
Come on.
that would exonerate an individual, you are a wicked and corrupt individual and system.
Mm-hmm.
The least you could do before you execute a man is make sure without a reasonable doubt that he was guilty of the crime committed.
Mm-hmm. Because like you said earlier, Leonard, there's no coming back from that. You can't go
If
back and say, "Oops, I made a mistake. Let's fix it."
thank you, you can't. And this also is across, even if you're a religious person,
Mm-hmm.
the shedding of innocent blood
Mm-hmm.
must be repaid.
Yep.
Must be repaid, or there is no justice. So I think about it. All these folks sitting around here that stood right there watching people hang. Some of them still alive.
Yep.
Some of them done hung some folk recently.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They
And
still here.
let's check out this other side, Raheem.
Mm-hmm.
Just as well as you executed this person that really didn't do it, somebody that did is still out there.
Still out there.
Yep.
Don't done it to somebody else, probably.
The guilty person is still walking. Probably doing it, have done it 5 or 6 other times outside of that. Probably done it 5 or 6 other times outside of that. So, there's no win in this situation. In a situation like this, there's no win.
Oh, but if we fight, and that's one thing I wanted to leave my son with. Fight.
Mm-hmm.
Fight back.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give up. Don't lay down. Even in the little things between your friends, you should want to be right.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're wrong, you should know. See, one of his things was he didn't like to be corrected. See, that's a problem when you're trying to learn math.
Mm-hmm.
Because math is about discipline.
Yep.
You got to follow the rules every time. Every time.
Mm-hmm.
You can't look at a problem and say, well, I think about such and such. No. Here are the rules. You follow the rules to get the answer to the math problem.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So not wanting to be corrected even when it's wrong, you got your face turned. You better fix your face.
Mm-hmm.
You wrong. You better accept it. Do you want to be right? Because you can't be right if you're hanging on to being upset because you're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'll break you down. I'll make you cry over a math problem.
Let's not be so mean, brother.
Oh man, come on. My daddy didn't play no games. That's why me, my sister, and my other brother are excellent at math.
Mm-hmm.
That's reality.
Yes, sir.
Because he made us sit there. And you
so let me ask
all you want.
I'm going to ask y'all a question and we're ready to get on out of here. God, just come back on the screen. I want to ask you the question. I want to see your face when I ask you the question. Should a person get a participation award for playing a sports even though they lost? Should they get a participation award? Goddess, what do you think?
Sure.
I think a participation award is always nice because a lot of people, they worked out, they did what they had to do. Although they wasn't the best in that award, they did what they had to do to make it there. If you ever had kids or if you ever played sports, I remember when I took everybody to the championship and we won for the first time, and we were the first Catholic school that won against even the public schools.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a girl that was so cold that I felt like she deserved my award. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I felt like because she was just that good. She was just that good.
Mm-hmm.
Only thing I had on her was height. But other than if she would have had a little height, she would have ran circles over me.
Mm-hmm.
That's how good she was.
Okay.
So yeah, I would think a participation award is always good.
Everybody can't win, but we are for participation awards.
Okay.
Right.
But everybody can't win.
I agree with you on that too, Leonard.
So Leonard,
I wanted to say something about what Leonard said.
Okay, hold on. Let me get everybody's view on this. I'll come right back to you before we get out of here. Leonard, so you're in agreement with the participation award?
Oh, most definitely. For participation, that's what it's for. It's not for winning, it's for participation.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But now the winner's award need to be a gold medal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Like, well, you get a gold one. What you get in the Olympics, you get gold, silver, and bronze.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody else that didn't get those still get things for going. They still get endorsements. They got to make the trip. They got to stay in the hotels. They got to do everything. And they can say, I participated on the team.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like a basketball team, even a championship, even if you didn't play, guess what? You get a ring.
Mm-hmm.
Because you were on the team that won.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Rico, what do you say to that? How do you feel about it?
Yes, you definitely have to be recognized and acknowledged for making the effort. You know, it's a lot of practice. It takes a lot of dedication and sacrifice to become a part of something, to compete, to win. So when you recognize, it's almost saying like, well, okay, you know what? You did all the work, but you might need to do a little bit more to achieve that goal. But at least you did take the right steps. So we're going to recognize you for participating and at least trying to be the champion or the victor. You know what a nomination is? Recognition for your efforts.
Yeah.
So now your next effort may be better. You might win this Grammy. You might win this Emmy the next go round. Keep working hard, young man. Keep working hard, young woman. You was almost close. You almost looking like it with that dude on that Geico commercial. Almost got it.
That's funny.
Don't look at it as embarrassing. Well, it's a good thing. You was that close.
Oh, maybe next time. Keep trying. Maybe next time you almost got it.
One thing about it is you can't win it if you don't try. So here's something to recognize the fact that you tried, and next year you might be the man.
See, I can agree with what you all are saying, but I'm kind of on the fence with that, with giving them a participation because, and my wife and I had we used to do beauty pageants for little girls, and we actually gave everybody a participation award. My wife wanted to do that. She's so loving. She wanted to do that. I said no. Let's not give them on a participation award because they didn't win. And then she said, much like y'all said, they came, they practiced, and going through the process, everybody worked real hard. And so my heart was okay, give them position. I wasn't gonna fight against that because I saw the effort that they put in. But at the same time, I didn't want to sell them on not doing your best and the winner. There has to be a winner. In sports, there have to be a winner. There have to be somebody that did not win.
How about this, Raheem? How about this? You've been nominated for quite a few awards and you won a few of them. And you didn't win. But you didn't win, that the nomination still said that you qualified and that you did the work to possibly be that winner.
Yeah.
Now, that's the hundreds of people out here doing the same thing you doing. But if you did good enough for the job to where we can nominate you as maybe possibly being the best out of these other 4 top people. So that's recognition. That's recognition for not only participation, but recognition for the hard work that you put in. Now you might not win. You're recognizing that you are above and beyond average. And that's what that participation award is for.
Good deal. I can agree with you. Goddess, you had something you wanted to say. Before we do that, Toya, you back with us? Toya, she on the phone line. I don't know. She might have had.
Oh yeah, the beach. She doing a fashion show.
Yeah.
There she go.
I'm going to Puerto Rico today, right? So I was around with my little uniform, my little outfit together, put them in the car, honey. So my hands is full, but I am here.
Look here. Now, let me ask you a question, though. And how you do that thing? I heard you. But listen, do you think people should get a participation award when they participate in something, even though they don't win, just a participation award? What do you think about that?
Well, you know what? Again, the way we were raised, we didn't think so, right? But I'm taking on a new way of thinking. One of the things that the Lord has done to me has said, show everybody appreciation. Everybody. The smallest wheel to the biggest wheel. So I think I kind of understand why they're doing that. However, when it comes to, I guess, a game or winning or producing, nah, Pookie. Nah, you can't. Like, so the Braves and the Yankees is going to be the world championships. right?
Mm-hmm.
But no, I think that way they do that is a method of building like the self-esteem of the child. But I don't think that it's a good way to do that because now when you lose, you want to go shoot up stuff, jump off buildings, because you can't cope with loss. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't agree, but I think I can kind of understand their method, even though I don't agree with it. Nope, no participate, no money, no honey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There you go. Okay. See, and that's both sides of it. Goddess, you wanted to say something before we get out of here?
Yeah, I wanted to touch base when Leonard was talking about math. People don't realize that math is the key to success in everything. That's why music was a key factor because it teaches you certain things that you need to know in life.
Mm-hmm.
And when you make a wrong, when you don't follow the actual principle or pattern, then and you'll make a mistake. It is what it is, and you have to be corrected. And it's the same thing with music. Music is math. In order to do music, that's why I don't know why they took music out of the school district, because you can hear it. You can hear it when you make that mistake. If you're playing the wrong note on the 8/16 or whatever whatever music that you're playing, so you can hear it then.
Okay.
And you want to correct it.
Okay. And Rico, you is into music, man. What does that say to you, brother?
Oh yeah, man. Numbers, man. The numbers play a big part in all that, but whether we realize it or not, like she says, math plays a part in everything. I mean, I call it the science of math.
Yeah.
But it is important, timing, um, just sound, intonation. I mean, just so many different things that math has effect on. Yeah, so she hit it on the head. I mean, and I was glad Leonard brought that up because I have that same talk with my son all the time, man, about math. I'm like, look, the process is always the same. You just got to remember the rules. So, you're not going to have to use a process because the rule won't apply because you might not have negatives. You might not have variables.
Right.
Yeah.
So there might be certain things not in there, but whatever it gives you, you remember the process and dissect it and just work it out. You're going to get a different answer every time, but the process. So
Exactly.
I think that's something that we all can still use as valuable information in our everyday life.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna say this to y'all. We got somebody. We got a caller. They late for today, but they super early for tomorrow. Bishop. You knew who it was, didn't you, Leonard? You knew who?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's our good bishop, the good bishop.
Good.
I want you to say the good bishop.
Good bishop. There you go. Good morning, Bishop. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. Good morning.
But hold on. How you doing this afternoon?
What? Good morning.
That's not right here.
How you doing this evening, sir?
Man, you know what? I'm great. Oh God, no, she did.
She said Merry Christmas.
I saw you at a beach somewhere. I think I saw you at a beach somewhere.
At a beach somewhere. At the beach. Hey, Bishop, let me ask you the question, and I saw you comment on it, but I want to hear your heart. Should a person get a participation award, even though they did not win? Should they get a participation award?
Yeah, I agree with both Leonard and Rico saying, and you participated. Yeah, you should receive a certificate for participation. Now, there's a difference between receiving a certificate of participation and receiving the outstanding player award. It's a big difference. But yet you were a part of the team, whether you won the game series or whatever, or you lost, you were still part of it. So yeah, you should receive recognition for your labor of love. But at the end of the day, it's just like LeBron's. He gets a championship ring, the entire team, but he gets the MVP because he put a little bit more. So yeah, everybody should receive some level of gratitude for their service in any sport or anything in life. Yeah, they should.
Okay. Now, could it be a situation where you sending a false narrative, or making them think it's okay not to win?
Well, no, it's not a false narrative. It's giving them some hard work, and that's where it comes. So yeah, you take that time, you come to practice, and I know you have to get up off the air, and I called in later, and sitting here listening, but I'm taking care of some other business, so now I had to give you a call. But I look at things like this: if you, but I used to when I was in high school and I played sports. Well, I ran track, I played football. I also played baseball. So the team, we the whole season came down awards. Hey, they gave us all, our letters that we got, and we also got our certificates. But the ones who knocked the most home runs, more steals, and all that, they got that type of award. I wasn't mad at them. I was happy for them. Next season, then I got to produce a little bit more if I want to receive those same accolades. So hey. It's all about being a part of.
Okay.
Hey, I'll stop right here. You're not a preacher or a deacon. But when Christ comes back, do you want him to say, because you're not a preacher or a deacon, you can come into heaven? You went to church, you made the tithe, did everything you need to do for the Lord, but you're not in the position. You're not a functioning of authority. It's the same thing that you just asked me, but I brought it back to you in a different way.
That's good. That's good. Anybody have anything before we get out of here? Because this we could go on for.
I'm just saying, if you didn't get a chance to hear this show in its entirety,
there you go.
You can log on to www.dkmmediagroup.com at 3:00 Eastern today.
Good deal. Good deal. Hey, y'all. Go ahead, Rico.
I was thinking, and I put it in the Twitch group. We really have to appreciate the participation, because could you imagine watching a Grammy Award with only one nominee, and that was it? Could you imagine watching a Super Bowl or World Series and there wasn't but one team playing? See, without that loser, without that participant, you wouldn't have an event.
Yeah.
You have to appreciate their participation, because without the event, you don't even have an opportunity to crown a champion. You just designate one based off the records. That ain't gonna be no fun. You definitely ain't gonna get no viewers or no sponsors if you just go and look at the end of the season and say, well, hey, they got the best record, they're the champion. I'll put you against the team with the next best record. And we're gonna see if you can really win it all the way out in this championship final, or in this final at the Grammys or the Emmys or the Oscars, whatever it is. If you only had one person that you already knew was gonna be the winner, ain't nobody gonna watch.
Exactly.
From the excitement. So the loser is very much necessary. Not even, I ain't gonna say the loser. The opponent is necessary for the competition to exist, and the loser won't be decided until afterwards. They're not losers until after they find out that they lost.
Yeah, and that's like the late great Alex Trebek. He used to always say, we have winners and non-winners. And he put it that way, at the end of the show, he said we have winners and non-winners. And one thing about it, that's why with the Grammys, they put everybody's face on the screen until they announce who the winner is. They put everybody sitting there, you see them sweating, and am I gonna win? Am I gonna? Nah, brother, you ain't gonna get it this time. You ain't gonna get it. Great movie or great music or whatever it is, but you didn't win. Let me see who we're gonna get. Look here. Let's have some fracking knuckle this morning. God, I'll pray us out.
Dear Heavenly Father, we bow our heads in unity. We bow our heads in teamwork. We bow our heads in the thought of you and your everlasting love for us. Dear Heavenly Father, please keep us mindful of what you want us and how you want us to go about on our everyday life and journey, what you would call the purpose-driven life. Heavenly Father, we thank you for Raheem and his show so we can get our truths out. And we think of each and every one that does participate in this show. Now and forever, in God's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. You didn't say fracking knuckle.
I know. I was feeling fragganaclish.
I didn't say women. She said with all this fracking knuckle. Rico, what happened, man? I thought we were gonna get some Fracanaco today, brother.
Well, you know, if it ain't live, it ain't authentic, so it ain't gonna have the same effect. You know what I'm saying? If she would have did it today, it'd have been like Memorex.
There you
Right.
When it's
Right. There you
authentic,
go.
it's serious.
go. Okay. Go. Then I was show listening for that Fracanaco. I was like, man, it's coming. It's coming. Here it comes. She rolling up on it.
What position did you used to play, Goddess?
Goddess?
Center and forward. Power center and power forward.
Okay. You was balling.
Were you any good?
Yeah, I was balling.
Yeah.
Watch it. Were you any good?
Oh, I was really good.
She just told you they won the championship.
I know. Look, it might have been the shooting guard that scored all the points though.
You trying to say she was in the way?
No.
Nah, just keep in mind, I'm still almost 6 feet when I was in grade school all the way up to
Hey, Goddess, he couldn't get around you. Tell him you couldn't get around Raheem.
Look, I got handles. I'm gonna tell you something. I got handles. I got some handles, man. But basketball, I played basketball with my boys and stuff. But I always wrestled during basketball season. I let Rico handle that. That's Rico area. Rico,
man, I couldn't shoot no basketball, man. That was my thing right there, man.
Look,
I played basketball and volleyball. Like I played basketball, volleyball, and I ran track. So I did all the sports, and I was good in all of them. So
now, Toya with a T could play. I might get Toya with a T to play because I'm gonna tell you something. I wouldn't say if she should say I'm gonna challenge you, Raheem, in basketball. I'd say no, you ain't. Now, and that want to challenge me until I know I can play tennis. I take that challenge, but I want to take the challenge with her. Basketball. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna look like no fool out there now. I'm not gonna do it. But I get Toya with a T. Can you shoot ball? She can't shoot. Toya with a T. She can't shoot. Bishop can shoot some ball. I know Bishop can shoot. Bishop. We need a representative.
Yeah,
we need a basketball representative, man. Can you shoot ball?
I can shoot.
Can you beat Goddess?
Yeah, give me a gun. Where you want to shoot it at?
Oh Lord. Bye, man. Good evening. Good night. Look, good night, Leonard.
Yes, sir.
What you got, man? What you got on my 40? Can you shoot basketball?
I see a little bit, but I wasn't on no team. I play at the park with the fellas at the park, but I ain't never played in school. Wasn't my strong part. Wasn't my strong point. I ain't but 5'6". Everybody else was bigger than me all the time, so I was just working too hard with these guys. Man, I'm done. Give me something else. Give me some base softball or something else, because this basketball ain't going. Now my sons play better than me, but like I told them, we're not putting our money and going to the NBA. We're not even going to act like we're going to the NBA. You're 5'6".
Oh no, Muggsy did it.
If God is out there, will you lose it? If God is out there, you're gonna lose. You can't.
All the way I'm gonna be able to compete with it if I'm passing. Shooting threes.
Passes himself to let him do the work. Listen, it is our 10:23 time for us to get out of here for today. I want to thank everybody for joining us, and more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKL Media Group and the Associates and the Morning Glow to be a part of your morning. It is 10:24. You're about to exit the Morning Glow, but before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you could do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. That we shine some of this light on you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in, and let your light so shine. You all take an opportunity, if you don't mind, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? And one more thing, if you don't mind, take care of each other. Love you and have a great day.